Healer, do you want... Okay.
Oh, no, you're fine. Let me do a quick intro, Cal, and then I'll let you talk. So,
Sure.
What's up, summoners? King Blair here. Today we got something a little bit special. We have a couple of people. Two of them are legend players, Kkight and Cal8x7, who Kkight also is a YouTuber and Cal is a streamer, and both of the information can be found in the description. We're gonna have a good discussion on RTA with these legend level players, as well as with Healer and potentially Lunar, who are members of the Discord. Healer also almost made it to legend last season, and he's a completely free-to-play player. But yeah, it's gonna be a good time. I also do have a room open, so if you would like to join the room, let me know. So we're just gonna be fighting in here, and just as a background, you guys can fight against each other while we talk about RTA and just have a good time, right? Just have a good discussions, and you guys are welcome to ask any questions and all that good stuff. And hey, what's up, dudes? But yeah, so Cal and Kkight, if y'all want to introduce yourselves.
You can go first, Kkight.
Hey everyone, so I'm Kkight. So first of all, thank you, Blair, for inviting me to join today's podcast. Super excited to be here. So I'm a day one Kkight8x7 players. Right now I'm more focusing on the RTA side of things, and I'm a huge PvP fan of the game. And personally, I also do a couple of videos on YouTube. So right now I have like a small number of viewers. So feel free to check me out if you're interested in watching some PvP related videos. Yeah, that's all for me.
Okay, and I'm Call8888888, otherwise known as Call8x7. I finished Legend last season, just recently starting out streaming on Twitch. But as far as my playstyle goes, I think it's a pretty objectively true statement that I am the slowest player that finished Legend. I don't have a functioning Wyvern 13 auto, and the fastest unit I picked more than twice in my Legend grind was 210 speed, which is my the best Soul Weaver in the game, a Kkight. So yeah, that's a little bit of a different perspective on the game, perhaps.
Yeah, pretty cool stuff. And then Healer, if you want to introduce yourself, Healer.
Yeah, I'm Healer. I just do whatever with my account. Just try to have fun, beat some legend players with units they've never seen, and yeah.
All right, so that should be some good stuff. So yeah, so it's a good variety. So we have a Legend Cleaver, which is Kkight. We have Call8x7, which is going to be a Bruiser Legend level player. He, as you mentioned, his units are super slow, and then I know that's something that a lot of people always talk about, that it's like, man, my units are so slow, I can't do this, you know. So it's pretty cool from that perspective. And then Healer, of course, with the free-to-player perspective. But yeah, so we are gonna go over some of the state of the game for RTA. There's a lot of stuff that I want to hear from you guys that I think that I'm really curious about. And also for the chat, you're welcome to ask the questions as well as we go along, or if you like something, or if you want to hear something else. So the first one is going to be just first, basic RTA. How do y'all feel about RTA right now, right? We just got up a new season. We're about to go to the next one. Do y'all feel like it's tough? Do y'all feel like it's easy? Like, how are y'all feeling about it so far?
Why not you just start with Call?
Oh yeah, Call,
right?
yeah.
Since you're like pretty high in the preseason ladder, I assume.
Yeah, I've been grinding out. I streamed last night and had a rough go of it. Playing on stream is so hard. It's like hard to appreciate. Just like actually like trying to process like streaming and playing at the same time. But yeah, I've been like bouncing around the top 20 this preseason. It's like reasonably high level. And I think the meta is pretty good. I think one of the things that I prioritize most as far as like examining the meta is like, I think RTA is at its best when you kind of are viewing the draft as like trading draft capital back and forth until someone like draft capital being, I mean, just like kind of a made up term. Just kind of like, given the state of the units, who is expected to win, like if the expected value RNG happens. And like, ideally, given that like they pick a pick, you pick a good pick into that, they pick good picks into your pick, it should be a back and forth.
Yeah.
And I think you can get pretty creative and versatile with a lot of the pivots you can do mid-draft. It's definitely a lot less locked in stylistically than some of the previous metas have been.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Pavel specifically, I think, opens up a lot of weird late cleave pivots.
Pavel's big right now for cleave.
So I think it's versatile, but I think it's pretty rough around the edges for reasons I can go into later after everyone has said their initial thoughts.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. What about you, Kkight? How do you feel? How do you feel about the current meta as a cleaver too? Because that one's the big one.
Personally, I really like to play a lot of like aggressive comps and fast comps, right? Units with really high speed and high damage. And usually I cleave a lot in last seasons with like the Cerise Flan setup. Right now, this new season, I feel like cleave is still viable, but it's not the best meta for cleave. And mainly because we have the recently buffed the Elena and the Green Violet. By the way, Green Violet is super strong in today's meta. And but right now, in terms of RTA meta, I think I will have some negative comments on it because it's very stale, right? Right now it's all about the carrot. Since Smilegate buffs Kkight, that unit has become like a very dominant force. I'm pretty sure we're gonna get into details about it later on. But right now I think the meta, if you I'm not sure about like the maybe a little bit mid champion or lower tier brackets. I think it might be diverse, but I might be wrong. But at high up, it's more about the same several picks, right? It's like the dominant picks. I mean, every meta is like that, but I would like to see some meta change, hopefully, when the new units are coming out. Because right now it's like very, very specific to a certain unit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And then what about you, Healer? How do you feel about it?
Yeah. For this meta, I just feel like I've had the best units to deal with cleave that I've ever had. With all the evasion units and all the units that can cut CR too. Even though I don't have Elena. Like, I just feel like Cleave's so easy to fight in this meta.
Yeah, it feels like...
On my playstyle in this meta, I've been actually I shifted from drafting 2 knights mostly every game to, like, never drafting knights. I use Cerise a lot more now. Because I feel like her bringing in dual attacks is actually huge right now.
Yeah, with Cerise. I noticed you use a lot of DJ Bassar too still. Even though it's like, a lot of people don't think he's that strong of a unit.
I use a lot of units with good S1s, and I pair them with Cerise and sometimes Lilius too. Violet's S1, Landy, and DJ Bassar. I feel like they just have loaded S1s. So that's the go-to team I've been using this season. Yeah.
So one point that I feel like a lot of you guys brought up was the Kkight and the Violet. And I know those are the 2 units right now that everyone, from what I've seen, that's the one that everyone is like complaining about. Like whenever you hear someone complaining right now about RTA, the 2 units that they're usually going to call is going to be Kkight or it's going to be Violet, right? So overall, these units feel, it feels like these units have been a very big impact in the game. I don't know if you know, but with Violet's recent buff, the evasion has been huge. So how do y'all feel about the units as a whole? Do you think they should nerf Kkight? Do you think they should nerf Violet? Do you like the changes? Do you like that we're getting more diverse units? Or do you think it's just like they find the way they are, and just like when we get the collab units, then they can start thinking about how to counter those units?
I think Violet is to me in a pretty different category than Kkight. Like, I think Violet at his core is just kind of like what I'd refer to as a matchup unit. Like, he is drafted in response to pretty specific things. And I think you could make the argument that versus those specific things, he's too good. Just like 100% dodge chance against water units and 100% counter rate against when they dodge. Like, that's just really oppressive and really pushes some units out of the meta in a maybe unfair way. But, like, if you're bringing counters to him, like Symbol of Unity, Charlotte, Stene, like he has a lot of bad matchups that prevent you from just like YOLO picking him.
Yeah, that's fair.
Whereas Kkight just kind of naturally answers most of her counters unless it's like specific things like Opsig, which are just going to blow her out because that's how the kit's designed. But yeah, she just doesn't have like a natural pick that kind of like I was saying earlier, like trades draft capital in the same way.
Yeah.
Which is why she's kind of a bit oppressive as far as drafting goes. But
Yeah.
I think she's like answerable. It's just, it doesn't feel like an equal exchange with Kkight in draft.
Yeah, because usually you'll see people first pick her and then they'll try to respond later on.
But you can't just like outright delete her like you can most other first picks.
Yeah. What have you, Kkight, as a cleaver? I'm sure you probably hate Violet right now because that unit is like the go-to right now for anti-cleaving.
Yes, absolutely. Actually, having some trouble fighting against like a good player with very good Violet because that unit is very strong at the moment. But personally, I think the buff is really good. I'm not like hating on the buffs. I actually think the buff on Violet is very needed because before the buff, we don't even see this unit, right? Not in PvE, not in RTA for sure, and not in Arena. So I feel like after the buff, right, the diversity has actually become like a thing now, right? Although like he's still green, right? He still loses to Kkight. Right now, I think the more problematic unit here would be the Kkight, to be honest, since the buff. Because I had some experience that I think a lot of people will agree, right? If you're super knowledgeable in the meta, it's like you can actually first pick Kkight and be okay with it. Although I know there are a lot of counters, right? The Blue Crowd, Cerise, or maybe you can bring like just maybe all water teams or something. But even that, right? Kkight just offered too much of a safe first pick or something. You have the DPS, you have the tankiness, right, to survive like some Arbiter Wildriff S3, and you also have the self cleanse, you have the slow debuff and self push as well. So it's like a overall very well-rounded kid in one piece.
Yeah.
But do I think it's required to nerf Kkight? Probably not, because what Smilegate does in the past, right? They always introduce new units or buff units, so that the older OP ones are kind of outshine, or try to make balance this way. Yes.
Yeah. That's the big one that I feel like a lot of people on that previous video that we did about nerfing, that seemed to be the thing that a lot of people are just waiting for, those new units. But what about you, Healer? How do you feel about Violet and Kkight situation? Like how strong she's in the current meta and everything?
I think Violet's fine. Maybe it's because I'm a Violet abuser. But, for Kkight, I still always cleave in Kkight because I just feel like I don't have the right counters for her. Because I don't like using Crow as much. So I usually take the Crow.
Yeah.
And I don't have Kisei or Elena, so I can't use them to counter Kkight. It's a struggle.
Yeah, because so at her core, she's like a debuff bruiser, and if you think about the ways you might normally want to deal with a debuff bruiser, well, you can focus them, but she has shield and innate DR. You can debuff them, but she has innate self cleanse, or you can put up immunity, and she strips. So all the things you kind of naturally would want to do, she naturally answers, which is why she's so easy to pick first, right? Just there aren't too many things that just directly stop her from doing Kkight things. There are a couple, but definitely not the norm.
Not enough, yeah. Man, so for me personally, I still feel like the big thing is even if you do answer her in a draft, you're getting forced to pick counters to her, because if you don't, you usually are gonna end up losing to them. So I don't know. I feel like the current meta, everything for the current meta can be broken down into oh, it's because of Kkight, right? Almost all the time, that's what it feels like.
Yeah. But my default draft is still first pick Landy. So I'm face Kkight almost every game because she's pretty good into Landy.
Yeah.
So, but you can definitely adapt to her, and I've had to.
Yeah.
I think Doctor's Bag, Elena, to stop the 2 burns can be useful, but that's pretty volatile because there's a lot of other AoEs that can go first.
Yeah.
Maid can kind of work, but yeah, nothing is super clean.
Yeah. And
Yeah, absolutely. Just to answer the car seats in the chat, right? Carry is also free to play, actually, right? So everyone can have this hero build. So in a way, it's kind of balanced for everybody. But the power level she has is quite strong.
Yeah.
I'm a free to play and I don't have my carrot build.
Oh, really?
Still?
Here all the time.
So yeah, and it just, man, I just know every time I ban Kkight, I feel like I'm not playing the same RTA. Like if she's pre-banned, it just feels like everything's just a lot different than normal.
Then we're just back in my Landy meta, and I'm vibing.
That's true. Then we're just back in Landy meta. That is completely true. But yeah, it's just
pre-banning Kkight is like everyone else also not used to Kkight being pre-banned if they use her regularly. So it also helps to throw them off a lot.
Yeah, because you can throw them off of actually doing all that good stuff. But yeah, so that was, as far as Kkight, man, it'll be interesting to see what Smilegate will do with the new units, because I really do think that like they're gonna have to mix up the meta a lot more when we actually start seeing the new units coming out potentially next week, right, with the collab. Yeah. So that'll be fun. As far as that, why do you think they're actually gonna release to kind of spice up the meta, right? Because like we need that new shakeup. So do you think they're gonna what do you think the new units are gonna be like? What do you think they're gonna have in their kit that is gonna push them over the edge to be like strong or maybe counter Kkight, since you know that's usually how they balance the heroes, is by countering a certain unit, right?
I think I don't remember who said it. It may have been one of you guys, but I think something that is a Smilegate way of balancing things is like a unit that checks if you have 2 of the same debuff applied to all your units, and then removes those debuffs. Like I think something like that is very brute force, but that's kind of Smilegate's basic tactic is brute force. So something like that could be, I don't know, it would probably be healthy enough. I don't think that'd be terrible.
What other unit would that affect?
Like SBA, because she's oppressive and needs nerfs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So kind of going off of that, it's like the thing about it, what it's weird to me is that we have so many control counters, and when you think of control units right now, it's just like there isn't any. You know, like there's a lot, but it's like control units. There's not really good ones. Like even F10 and now feels like not that good, right? Because if you pick her early without FCC, they're just gonna FCC and Violet, and then it's just like you just wasted your pick, right? So it's kind of one of those things. It may not be controlled directly, but like debuff based characters, right? Like for the most part, there's a lot of things that counter debuffs, but it still feels like you still have those certain units like Kkight that are still able to do their job just through debuffs. So it's like, me personally as a control player, I hope that the new units aren't like a end all be all control counter or debuff counter, right? Because I feel like we already have enough of that in the game.
Like new HU Fiend with Guild already just will. They're just gonna beat every debuffer for the rest of the game. I don't understand how it's supposed to get around that. It's just 70% dodge and 2 buffs. Like that's pretty brutal.
If they add a debuffer that doesn't have to hit like Flan, except she provokes.
Yeah, you can like flurry and stuff, but that's
yeah.
But if you're flirting that Hoofy, it's not
Violet counters,
that's
I've
true.
been using like Lilius. Her S2 locks him down forever, and he deals no damage to her because she's fire. And I use Victoria's flag.
Well, I know for Violet, it's like honestly the thing about it is if you pick a fire unit, unless they're doing something crazy, they feel weak, right? Because if you think of the strong fire units, it's like Kkight, Charlotte, and maybe Robbie, right? All the other fire units just feel like they just get completely blocked out. So that's why it's like
as far as DPS goes,
as far as DPS,
like, my girl at Kkight is pretty good.
Oh, that's true. That's true. As far as DPSs go, it's the same thing for water. Like the reason, like I think of Kkight, it's like okay, the only unit that can realistically beat Kkight right now is the Kkight, because she can just essentially reset and almost kill her in one clap, right? So I just wonder, like with the new units, how can you make something without just making them stupid broken, right? Because it's like I feel like it's so limited, right, in what they can do to actually counter these type of units, because Violet and Kkight themselves are already so stacked, and if you put something that's stacked as well, then they're gonna just become the new problem, right?
Like, I think Strays is a ticking time bomb for the game. He already breaks the rules a bit as far like no other unit has been able to kill like the tanky units he can kill without like an inordinate amount of setup, like stacking up Sidon with attack up into Soul Burn. Like that's what used to be what you had to do to kill an FCC like that before. Now he just presses one button, like sometimes without attack up and gets a kill.
Yeah.
And the warrior arties are so bad for him. Like if he ends up with the artifact that actually enables him to do his job without like his kind of awkward setup a little bit right now, he's gonna just like kind of break the game. So I think Strays is like they felt like they were already pushing the design in a potentially like pretty power creepy way, but
yeah, that's.
I mean, I've been trying something funny with like a Bruiser Strazi with attack down from Fire Maya.
Yeah.
Instead of giving the attack buff, because people always ban the attack buff, but they don't really think about the attack down. So
that's a pretty big brain strat.
True.
Yeah.
So do you?
Yeah. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, do you strip with Cerise into Fire Maya? Is that your usual setup for her?
Yeah, I usually strip with Cerise into Fire Maya.
Gotcha.
And,
yeah.
If they ban the Cerise, I still get a defense buff for 2 turns. So.
True.
That's true. But
I was gonna say, as for me, Strazi probably is the best for the speed one, right? You go for like a really fast speed Strazi, and then you one-shot the unit right off the bat.
Yeah.
You don't even need attack buff. That's the strategy there.
Yeah. Like, my maid lives through almost everything, as people have seen, but she does not live through Strays. She just fucking dies, and that's sad.
Yeah. But what do you think about the new units, Kkight? What do you think they're going to add?
Yes, I was trying to answer with that point. So I think we need debuffed units, to be honest, at this point, because the state of the game, right? I think full control comp is basically unplayable, right? Even if you want to go for like a control-centric comp, I think the last unit that we had that is very powerful is Fairy Tale Tenebria, which is super broken when on release, but it's not very strong at the moment since we got so many units like the ML Kawazu, for example. Or we have like, just bring ER units or FCC, right, to counter that. I think it would be super cool if they're gonna release some very strong control unit, right, for the next couple of patches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But how do you make a good control unit, like with the new units? How do you make a good control unit without it already getting like shut out by things like Dilibet, Elena with Doctor's Bag, Holiday Yufin on the new guild?
That's tough.
Well, it would have to break the rules in a way that everyone hates. Like if you could make it uncleansable and stuff, and that would make it viable. But who wants to? That just sounds like
uncleansable debuff. That would sound ridiculous.
If they give the unit a full strip and 100% stun on AOE,
what's Amelia gonna get it? Like full team freeze.
Full team freeze.
Like a mage. Just add another mage, you get a stun.
The only thing I could think about maybe for control would be like if they added a unit that strips, applies restrict, and then does the debuff. Kind of like Solitaria, but it's like strip, restrict, then hit. Because that way you counter Holiday Yufin essentially, because you restrict, you put the seal on them, right?
Yeah.
But
they can make it like Elfel, where you don't have to hit to like get a strip, right?
Yeah.
Honestly, if there was, I think one thing that could actually enable control in a really meaningful way is if there was a strip into seal, like an AoE strip into seal. I think that would probably be busted, but
that just sounds crazy. That would make Cleave so good, though.
That would definitely enable, like, that would be kind of the way, right? Like, shut off a Taiwan, shut off Champ C, shut off FMI, like Dilibet. All these units are relying on that kind of passive effect to cleanse.
Yeah.
Also, as a bit of an aside, I do think Smilegate should get some credit. I think ML Kawazu is actually a pretty healthy unit for, like, kind of a precarious design space. Like, I think he does his job and doesn't do more than his job, which is a good balance.
I agree.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I know Smilegate has did like a survey, right, asking about the the new units. I think personally the best unit they made this year is ML Kawazu actually, because that unit is very interesting. First of all, design wise, really cool, and also the skill wise, right?
Yeah,
it does its job perfectly, but no more than that. It's not like an OP hero you want to pick every single game, but I think it's perfectly balanced. I think that type of design is something they want to look into in the future.
Yeah, he looked like out of all the units I've seen, he looked like the one that I wanted the most, like in terms of being fun.
Same.
The fucking nightmare of the Moonlight 4-star though. Like you pull on the banner, you see the sparkle.
Oh,
and then your dreams get crushed.
Yeah, and the thing about it's like with the MO 4-stars that they're releasing, what's hard about those units, it's like you're not guaranteed to get them. There is no pity for these units, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you get them, you get them. If you don't, you don't, right? So it's it'll be interesting if they make really strong ML 4-stars in the future, like ML Kawasu. But I have no clue how they're gonna make the collab units and make something unique.
Yeah, I have a sick idea for something that should be in the game that isn't.
All right, let me hear it.
I want Explosion from Pokemon. Give me a unit that presses S3, extincts themselves, and does some cool effect.
Okay, not gonna lie, that reminds me of, you know, that mage artifact that came with Polides?
Yeah.
What if it was a mage that like self-destructed but did something for it? You know, like insane damage or something, and you could pair it with that artifact.
And also, like there's situations where it's like it pretty meaningfully matters. Like if you have a Champ Z, sometimes having other units on your team is like an active detriment. Like you just want to get to the point early in Frenzy where they have to smack Champ Z and he solos.
Yeah.
Or like Stenape stacking her passive. And so like it's a dumb idea, but I think there's some interesting interactions with how it functions in terms of channeling your hits onto other units, especially.
Yeah.
But I doubt that's coming in soon.
Talking about units that inflict effects on like your own team, I've always wanted a unit that I could put a slow debuff on one of my own units.
Why? Wait, why?
Like,
so I can put a slow debuff on the SSB and put it in immunity and.
I see what you're saying. that'd be weird if there's ever a unit that just lets you do that.
Because one time I had Ciarnin SSB, and the other guy had Cerise. He S3'd and I had the slow debuff with Restrict. Then I got my S3 off. I just never moved and he killed himself. I was like, if they make a unit that just lets me do that whenever I want, that'd be amazing.
But, okay, kind of going off of that, and we kind of were already talking about this point a little bit, but as far as all the playstyles, right? Because there's like 4 main playstyles with like kind of like interconnected things. We have Cleave, Control, Bruiser, and Tank, essentially. And then like there's things like Aggro. How do you think each playstyle is right now? Like it feels like for a little bit, Cleave was feeling like it was going to be the playstyle, but I feel like we've kind of gone back to more Bruiser type team compositions. How do you think that will be going forward, like the new season with the new frenzy changes, the effectiveness? I know for me that was huge for Control. It actually feels like I can't play Control anymore, right? It's everything against you. But what do y'all think about the playstyles? Like, what do you think they will be for next season? Do you think it's still going to be Bruiser and Cleave as a side, or do you think like there's some other ones that have potential in the future?
I think for Bruiser and like even my particularly slow like Soul Weaver style of Bruiser, like what I do is kind of my own version of a pretty standard play style, which is 2 carries, 3 supports. Like I first pick my Landy as my carry, pick 3 supports, then pick a second carry in my last pick. And you see that kind of thing with like G-Perk XCC 2 carries, like Bassar. There's different versions of it. You can be substantially more aggressive with your supports, or you can be very defensive like I am. But like that basic model, I don't think is going to change anytime soon, just because it's so, set up, like that's just kind of defined by how drafting works. Like you need to make sure you have a carry at least, and then you need to make sure that carry can do their job. So some version of that playstyle I think is always going to exist.
Yeah, that's like the protect the castle kind of team compositions.
Yeah.
Okay. And what about the other one? I know you mostly play Bruiser with your slow counter gear, so I still think that's crazy that I can't believe that you never farmed Weimar 13. Pretty much.
I farmed it 10 times maybe.
That's crazy. And you're making legend with all Bruiser slow units.
Banshee's sick, dude. Counter sets OP.
But how about for you, KK? Because I know you're a big Cleaver player. How do you feel Cleaver's right now? You guys had a little bit of like a shining moment with Pavel, Polides, Operator Sigrid buffs. It was looking pretty good for Cleve, not gonna lie for a second.
Yes, absolutely. Last season, after the Flan buff, I think is the best time for Cleavers, actually. Because we have the Cerise, we have the Flan, right? Giving attack buff, critical hit damage buff, and to push up people to nuke. For this season, I think Cleave is still viable because you're always gonna find ways to Cleave. It depends on your opponent, right? If they have the units ready, right? Counter Cleave units ready.
Yeah.
And there's I know some legend player. There's still, right? For example, the rank 1, right? Light. I believe he still plays Cleave, and he's finding success with it. But in the overall general player base, I feel like Cleave is a little bit weaker compared to last season, of course, because of the Green Violet and Elena buff. And personally, for me, I kind of switch off to some Bruiser type, maybe aggro or like turn 1 with some Soul Weavers and tanks. For example, you pick an FCC and then you pick like a lot of like the damage dealers, or you can go like, actually I think we forgot to talk about Maid Chloe, right? This unit also very powerful in all kinds of drop. I actually dropped Maid Chloe with the aggro damage setup units, right? With damage dealers, because she guarantees you like the attack buff and another lives, right? Basically, they don't have any anti-revive mechanism. So yeah, I think Cleave is viable, but not in the perfect spot. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think one of the things for Cleave, and I don't play it too much. One of my good friends, Blue50, you know him, Kkight. He has some like pretty good Cleave units. And the issue he runs into is the number of good speed units he has to have to Cleave versus the number of good speed units someone has to stop Cleave is so imbalanced that like you need such good gear to be a Cleaver, I think.
Yeah. Because if you don't outspeed, you automatically lose.
Like how many 300 or over 290 units do you have, Kkight?
I have a lot, to be honest. If you want to clear, you have to be, first of all, a Wyvern gamer, right? You have to farm a lot of speed gears. And you need your setup unit to be fast, because if the opponent is smart, they're always going to have that Assassin Sid or Moonlight Rin ready.
Those are the two.
Or they can go for like a slower if they have the ML Bao, right? Bao and Sazan. There's a lot of options to stop a cleave from happening these days. So that's why cleave is a little bit tough, and it has high gear requirement, like in terms of speed and damage as well. So if I also run into a situation where I do get my setup, but the opponent just too tanky for me to handle. Like for example, they have like a Last Rider Prowl, a Tywin, and I wasn't able to do enough damage to kill off the team, and then I lose from there. That could also happen. So that's why I want to say that is like Wyvern is not the only way, right? You progress in the game. Like for example, Call is the perfect example with a slow tanky comp. It's very ironic. Like for me and Call, right? It's like I'm like the more damage type oriented players, but he's more like the defensive style players. It's very interesting to see both play styles are having some success.
Yeah. It's nice to see the team diversity for the most part. And what about you, Healer? How do you feel? Because I know you draft super wonky, like a
baby.
I don't know. I feel like my playstyle, I don't think you'll ever drop out of the meta because it's never been meta.
That's fair. But how do you feel about like the off meta picks? Do you feel good about it? Do you still feel like you're chilling with them?
So last season was like the first time I built so many meta units. It actually felt so bad last season with Carrot and Maid, because I didn't really have an answer to Maid, but I also didn't have an answer to Carrot. And Carrot, I felt like was a blow to the free-to-play population. Because he just eliminates so many other choices that used to be viable.
Yeah.
Which is why I still have to pre-ban her. Because you can't use a bunch of fun units with her. Since she has a strip, you can't really kill her. And you just need specific units to kill her.
Yeah, I think that's one of the big issues with Kkight is like it's nice that she's free to play, but her answers really aren't. Like building a very good Kkight that can kill. I mean, one, she's a 5-star, and then building her well enough to kill Kkight is like pretty hard.
Yep.
And like Opsig again is just like, yeah, cool, Moonlight 5-star answer. That doesn't really help a free to play player.
Yeah. Also, just the fact that they can just contest you with a Sid right after.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the lesser used units, they don't have self-peel, like RB or T-Cern. They can cleanse themselves, and K1 just doesn't die. A lot of the DPS have something like that in order to survive. But with Kkight, it has a strip, and the best thing you can usually do to give a DPS that doesn't have built-in survivability is immunity. But yeah, Kkight doesn't even care about your immunity.
Yeah, if I could make one change to Kkight, it would just be taking away her strip. I think that puts her in a pretty healthy place.
Like with the strip, it opens a really dumb Kkight build. I got hit with an abyssal Kkight. It stunned all 4 of my units. I was like, what is this? A SBA that can strip too? It's so dumb.
Damn, Violet's popping off.
In the background. Yeah. But no, it'll just be interesting going forward. Like next season, every preseason I always feel like it feels extra sweaty, right? But then I'll get to the actual season and it gets a little bit better. But it's just, man, I am very curious how they're gonna tackle a lot of these units that have been pretty much dominating the game at this point.
Yeah,
but the one unit I feel like we didn't talk about but should be touched upon because I feel like she's gonna be very meta soon is Holiday Euphenie.
Oh yeah. True. Oh yeah. With the, I honestly feel people are still sleeping on her though, because I will see like a lot of comments on like the Holiday Euphenie worth it, and like on other people saying Holiday Euphenie is not a good unit, right? Like they're saying she's niche, but I feel like, man, that unit has dummy potential just because of the new Guild Wars artifact.
Yeah.
And she's like debatably good against Violet too, because I have mine on Junkyard Dog. It just burns like I do that. Oh
yeah, because you just burn for free. And Violet has a lower chance to actually hit too.
Yeah.
Because it's fire and the 20% evasion, so it's actually like Violet will not hit her that easily.
So like if you have a tanky Holiday Euphenie and you just hide a stunning behind that, and Violet's the only DPS, it's like
you're chilling
away from them to win that.
Yeah, as if for me, I'm a Holiday Euphenie user. I actually really like the damage Holiday Euphenie. So it's like, you build her as a fire DPS with a critical hit damage neck. And I think she can do a lot of damage. I think the main reason why we see a Holiday Euphenie coming up, right, like becoming stronger is because people are hesitant to use like SSB and LR Craft these days. Like we used to see a lot of like Last Rider crowd, even first picks or second picks, and right now like we're seeing like all these. For example, the new Violets, right? Holiday Euphenie can do great against, and we can and maybe even see more of her play in the future. And one thing to notice is that Holiday Euphenie S1 ignore element disadvantage, so you can actually crit like a water unit as well.
Yeah.
But definitely a very strong hero like upcoming.
I believe LRK is still super busted, by the way. I love my LRK. He's so good.
I know, every time I play against you, I'm like, man, why is this? I hate this LRK. Because no one uses it anymore, right?
I think people try and use him in like, 250 portrait bruiser cleave, and I think that is still kind of, I mean, it's not possible, but I think that playstyle is a lot worse than just like tank artifact, like super tank LRK that sits there and is a totem for immunity and barriers. Like, that's just still really, really nice to have.
Yeah. It's gonna be interesting next season. He's always one of those units that like I feel like is gonna come up whenever there's a strong AoE unit. Like if Holiday Euphenie ever does become a problem, he'll probably be the first unit that people are gonna start going super hard with. But kind of for the next topic that I know we're gonna be for the next season, right? They have the introduction of the new Emperor rank, right? So I know for a lot of players, this is something that it's not gonna add a lot, right? For most players, they will only care about the skin. This is more for like the competitive scene. Do you think it's like a good thing that they added in the Emperor rank? Would you like to have seen it be harder? Like the 1,000 points, a lot of people have said like they feel like it's too easy. It's almost like a give me, right? Like top 1,000, they think it's easy, right? They're like maybe like top 500 or 300. Or do you think it was a good option by Smilegate, right?
So, I think initially I thought it should be more restrictive. My initial thought would be top 500, which would be nice, but I think overall it's just good. Like it doesn't detract from the game; it just adds. But I think its existence makes it more competitive, right? Like before, it was like Legends there. You're not gonna hit it unless you grind a bunch, and it's kind of just a pain. Yeah. Like the fact that it's achievable means that people will try to achieve it, and the fact that more people will try and achieve it means it's going to be more competitive, which I think will end up being a decent balance.
Are you worried about the point inflection? I see that question, that someone mentioning that in the chat, and that's something that I was thinking about. Because there's a chance that we get the JP server to come with us, and if everyone's trying to push now for Emperor and for Legend, do you think we're gonna get to a point where like it's gonna be like a ridiculous amount, and everyone will have to grind like a ton?
As long as they keep the points like it is in preseason, it's fine.
No, please don't. Preseason point game is terrible.
I don't know why it's so inflationary. Maybe they were messing around with changing it up in preseason, but geez, it just goes up so quickly over the course of the season.
Yeah.
Wait, do you guys know what the point was for top 1,000? Where did it end?
Last season, I think it was close to 3,500.
I only know the top of the letter, sorry.
I mean, I'm pretty sure 3,500 is still pretty competitive towards the end of the season, so.
And this for Mortal, Kkight, and to Cal, because I know both of you guys had to do that Legend climb last season. Do you feel now, if you knew that if you didn't make Legend, you would get Emperor, would you feel more motivated to try to shoot for that Legend? Like, would you do it again next season if you, like, I don't know if you will or not, but it sounds like that is something you do once and you're done, because it doesn't sound like a good experience.
Yeah, I mean, I think what might be nice, like, I wouldn't feel better about having it as a fallback plan to Legend, but I think it's a nice transition to Legend. Like, oh, I'm going to climb for Emperor. Oh, wait, I'm playing pretty well. Things are working out for me. I'm going to keep pushing. Mm-hmm. So I think that might be a decent kind of driver for people, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, so in my opinion, definitely a very good thing, right? That they add the Emperor there, just try to motivate people. But in terms of like, is it more for the Legend of failure people, or is it more for maybe new players, right? To try to get more in depth into RTA? I think it's the later, right? It's like set like a goal for new players, right? If you want to try to climb high up, you might need to grind a little bit more and try to look into the meta, try to study the drafting and all that. I think it's super cool because like it actually motivates a lot of like the players to try to go for like a next level. Because before, right, the Champion League, I believe, is like a lot of people, right? It's like from 6,000 or something, and it's definitely right now. I think after the change, a lot of people are actually going to go for that Emperor rank. I think it's gonna be very competitive though. If you are like in the mid tier, trying to shoot for that. But as for Legend players or like maybe high champion, right, in the past, I wouldn't say that's a good compensation for those who fail to get Legend, right? People still get frustrated because actually I know a lot of people in the community are high up, and I've seen people that fail the Legend finished, right, actually quit the game, right, because in the last minutes, and they messed something up, or because it was because like bad internet connection or something, and very frustrating. Like it can be very frustrating because you've been there like along the seasons, and then in the end you couldn't finish it, right? But it is very competitive. I'm pretty sure Carl knows it, right? You have to play to the last minutes, right? Last 10 minutes or 5 minutes to make sure your points is within the 100 rank. And I know people that are super strong, super competitive, have way more better gears than I do. Actually, didn't finish, right? Because
definitely
because of they as the points rise up, right, in the last 5 minutes, the last few people are gonna get knocked out.
You were
you don't even know, right? You're gonna get knocked out
point,
or not.
Total in Legend, right, Kkight? Like I was watching you at the end, and you were 2 points above the end. That was super stressful.
So it's also a little bit of luck there, right?
Yeah.
So, but I think overall, right, it's a good change. Right? Definitely a step forward.
Yeah.
It also helps that I think the icon is actually sick. That's that's
I
a reason
like it more than Legend. Like low-key. So something that I kind of wanted to go off because Kkight, you mentioned that some people have quit because how frustrating it is to not get Legend. That kind of reminds me also of the reward, because RTA is not that much of a supported game mode overall, right? Like there's not real rewards aside just from the skin. Everything else didn't feel like that crazy, right? Going forward, do you think staying the same way, or do you think if there was rewards that you could actively climb, do you think the season's too long? Because playing for 4 or 5 months or 3 months of RTA only to the last 5 minutes be what decides whether you make Legend or not. Do you think they should shorten that amount when to get Legend, or maybe do a weekly point basis where every week if you're a certain rank you get points to benefit players that are constantly playing versus the ones that just come right at the end?
I think personally, this has been this is not just my opinion. This has been put forward by a lot of people. But if you could just I hate regularly arena personally. It just isn't something I enjoy playing.
No,
so if I could choose to just spend my arena flags when I play RTA for equivalent gains, I would love that. That would make me so much happier.
That would be amazing. Because I always have all the flags and I never get the points because arena is I agree.
And ostensibly it wouldn't change the economy. If they think that's a fair amount of flags to give out, it shouldn't really matter how you redeem them. But we'll see. I would like that to happen, but I don't expect it to.
That would actually be so awesome. What about you, Kkight? Do you think you should stay the same? The rewards, try to switch it up a little bit, or?
Yeah, I was thinking maybe adding some rewards, right? Because until this point, there's nothing crazy for RTA players, right? People enjoy playing RTA, but there's no rewards. Basically, just a skin, a frame, and what else? A background. Yeah, I believe that's it, right? So maybe adding some rewards that's not that game changing and keep those players. I know the RTA mode is not the dominant mode for the game. Actually, a lot of people are not playing RTA very often. But I feel adding some rewards would be really good for the people who enjoy playing RTA. Because right now you feel you're wasting a lot of times just to do matches, and then not getting anything out of it, while the other people are doing the gear optimization, more propelled account better, right? And also for I think that's just the reward side. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. And what about you, Healer? As someone who plays a lot of RTA and doesn't really spend in the game, what do you think? It's more rewards.
I would say, what you said with the weekly point system, I don't think it should be a point system to determine if you get the Legend frame or not at the end. If they could just give weekly rewards for where you end, I think that would be pretty nice.
Yeah.
So the regular arena system.
Yes, but for RTA.
Yeah. Because, nobody's gonna do that regular arena system.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is that if you add the point system, right, I was thinking, so then people have to be dedicated to RTA though, right? Say if you have points accumulate throughout the season, and then whoever gets the most points has the according finishing rank.
Yeah.
That can be good or can be bad, because the thing is like then you have to be really dedicated, right? It's good
That's
for
true.
those who are dedicated in the game mode, but at the same time, right, you feel like that obligation to do it, right? It's like it depends. It really depends.
Yeah, and like I'm sure you're familiar, Kkight, but like keeping up with Legend throughout the season is such a grind. It's so just like strenuous because every day you just fall out again and you feel bad, so you have to climb back up and you're facing good players, and so yeah, like I don't know, I don't think I could handle if it was counted weekly in terms of like accumulating point totals. I took a month break before the final week of RTA, just because I needed a break from it, and then I did all the grinding in the last like 4 days, which was way too many games, but I made it. But I mean, the RTA is in a weird situation because like it's the least benefit of anything you can do in the game, like in terms of furthering your account, as Kkight was saying. Yeah. But it's also like the pinnacle of the game, I would say. I mean, that's like my personal opinion, obviously. But like, I think it's something that's like, something people would chase and say like, oh, I want to get towards RTA and start competing. And I think that kind of depth of competition you don't get elsewhere in the game is what like would keep people playing much longer than they would otherwise.
Yeah. So kind of going off of like this discussion of like people staying in the game and all that good stuff. Recently there's been like kind of a content drought, right? And a lot of players have felt it, the community has felt it. Overall, it's just like it's an all-time low. And one of the things, it's like as time goes on, we're gonna lose a lot of those high-level players as well as they get Legend. How do you think they can get new players to be involved in RTA? Because at the end of the day, they're the ones that are gonna have to bring it back, right?
I mean, I think part of it is, perhaps this is presumptuous of me, but like, people who create content about like doing cool stuff in RTA, I think is one thing that will keep people invested. I mean, I think it's just a cool thing to be involved in to some extent. But yeah, maybe I think the matchmaking system is something of a barrier to new players. I know there's a lot more control that they can, manage, and I think having like a beginner queue or something to that effect would definitely be a healthy step to, so you don't feel like you walk in and get run into 5 Moonlight 5-star draft as can happen.
Yeah, because it sucks, like especially near the end of season, you could be paired up against someone that could easily be Legend, but just didn't want to rank up.
So I think a bit more options as far as the queue goes would maybe be a cool step.
Okay. And
I feel like from my experience, the main issue that people have with not playing RTA is that a lot of people feel they don't have like a reason to grind like the game mode. I've always felt like they need to improve like the system in which like people like obtain rewards from it. Like imagine if they added like if they had like some separate like RTA system like similar to like conquest points, which you could like exchange for, I don't know, charms or something like every week. Like imagine how much more people would be motivated to actually play the game mode.
Yeah. But the thing about it that I know a lot of people complain about is they say they don't want to have to try hard or like be sweaty to get those rewards, right? And I can understand that because not everyone will like RTA and they don't want it to be game changing. Because imagine if, for example, let's say they gave charms, right, for playing RTA. A new player, the first 1 to 3 months, they're gonna want charms, and if they play RTA, they're gonna have a negative experience, right? So how do you balance that not game breaking rewards for the people that really don't like RTA, but make it just enough to entice the people that are on the fence about it?
I mean, that's why. Go ahead.
It seems like a catch-22, but I feel like at the end of the day, RTA is like the like end game content for like E7. So I feel like it might be a difficult pill to swallow, but I feel like for players who don't like RTA, I'm not really sure how much enjoyment they're going to be able to derive out of E7 once they reach the end game, because that's the true end game for this game. So I feel like obviously they can do a better job at catering RTA towards like a wider base of people. But I think for people who just don't like the game mode straight up, there isn't that much you can do.
That's fair.
So I feel like it's more important to just add, a better reward system so that more people are willing to play.
Yeah.
Because I think it's pointless to try to like, you know, make the game mode something it's not, which is like accessible to people who just don't like PvP.
That's fair.
And that's one of the reasons I would like to push for they like be able to spend arena flags on RTA for points, because it doesn't change the economy. It just allows you to have more options as far as how you attain the same level of rewards.
Yeah, because we're still forced to do arena just because of the rewards are so good, essentially. But what about you, Kkight? What do you think? Are you more with like Lunar? By the way, the person that just joined us is Lunar. He's another member of the Discord who was very close to getting to Legend last season as well. But
very close
for Kkight, for the whole like the rewards, like how do you get new players into it, or how do you make it more enticing, right? Because honestly, there's days that I just don't feel the need to grind because I know I'm not gonna be able to in Legend, and it's not worth the grind, right? It's like hours that you're putting in every single week. And yes, I enjoy it, and that's why I still play it. But for the people that like it but don't have that reward, what do you think about it?
Yes, so I think first of all, Smilegate should really help new players to grind the hunts, right? That's the first priority. I think they're doing a really good job on it because they're sending a lot of like free gears and like from the events, and I think it is pretty good because the main thing about getting into RTA is that you have to have like solid gears before you can really start, right? So I think the main thing is that they really need to help new players to progress faster, right? Because we are at this point like new players are, I think, still take some times to set up the hunt Wyvern 13 or even Banshee 13 teams.
Hey man,
so
Wyvern 13 is pretty hard.
Oh, really? Yeah, so that's one aspect. And the second aspect, I was thinking maybe they can try to have some like trial the RTAs. For example, you can pick the units that you don't have, right, and try them out in RTA, like in a game mode, and probably they can add like something that's non-ranked, right, just random match it. But that can also cause problem because you're gonna maybe match into somebody that you don't are not in the same skill level. But I think by only having like a rank ladder is something not very complete, to be honest. Because I know like some other games and they have like the non-rank and the rank. So maybe having that non-rank can be a good aspect for RTA.
Just so you can test stuff out.
I would definitely agree with that. Like there's a lot of times where like I want to test stuff out and like, you know, just kind of prospectively see how good it is. But like I know if I just go against a legend ranked player, they're gonna gear get me and I'm gonna lose, and it's not gonna learn anything about the actual pick. And so like having a casual queue would definitely be something I'd be in favor of. That'd be a good move.
What do you think about like a game mode where they just let you use any unit, but they were all ungeared and like fully awake anymore?
Like just like a fun game mode.
That sounds pretty fun. Like
that sounds good. No,
I
like kind of like an actual. But then how would you balance? Like, would you just make it ungeared base stats, like for all the units?
Yeah, yeah. So then you eliminate speed RNG, so you just like know which unit is faster.
I don't think those like that's fun to have. I mean, kind of like what League of Legends does. They release like busted half kind of put together game modes, but only have them on for a little bit. I think that'd be fun if it was there for like a month and people would mess around with it and then went away.
I know for one thing that's something that would definitely, like, I know that was something that someone brought up, but they would say that it could potentially split the queues too, because like why would, if there was like two queues, people would like to play the fun game mode more, right?
I think the main problem with having separate game modes from like the ladder is just that, you know, there's already not that big of like a proportion of the E7 player base that plays RTA, like the ranked game mode. So I feel like if you add, you know, an unranked ladder or like, you know, some like custom RTA game mode, I just don't think there's going to be enough people who actually play them to like warrant like Smilegate, you know, dedicating like their resources towards that goal.
True. There's definitely that economy side of things that, I mean, it's hard for me to judge like base activity levels of RTA, but you definitely see the same people enough that you can kind of piece things together.
Yeah.
Yeah, so about Smilegate making the matchmaking system match you with someone closer to your rank. What do you think about that? Because for me, both sides of it, I remember when in season 2, I wasn't a very strong player, but I would always get like super hyped when I matched with a legend guy who was like 800 points higher than me. But now that I'm like at the higher end of the spectrum, when I match with someone 800 points lower than me, it's
Oh, it feels so bad.
So bad. It feels so bad.
Do you think making matchmaking closer in rank is healthier for the game?
I feel
It
like
takes away all the hype of like beating someone 1,000 points higher than you and like taking 50 other points.
as hype as that is, I feel like if you really are at like 1,000 points, like something crazy like that between you and like another player, I feel like that's not a good matchmaking system.
Yeah. And it happens more than it should, right? And it's frustrating from the upper side of it because you legitimately only lose, right? You only lose from the system, right? Even if you win, you wasted time because you only get 2 points.
The big +1, baby.
Right? So it almost feels like what's the point kind of thing, right? When you fight those players, you legit just waste 5 to 10 minutes fighting for the higher level. And then if you lose like 20 points, but if you win, you get 1, right? And I know that's frustrating. I know it's something that a lot of people don't care. And then for the lower side, it's like, man, how the heck am I gonna beat this player, right?
Also, keep in mind they implemented a new point system. Like, there's that infamous Ken Shitty clip where he won a game. Didn't he like lose 1 point or something?
Oh yeah. Then you said.
I mean, I think that was working out the kinks more than it was an intentional element of the system. But.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope they fix it though. I don't think they've actually fixed it yet.
Oh, I lost when I started playing placements. I was just kind of messing around, and I went to I lost 500 points in about 10 games.
Banger.
Yeah,
I remember
preseason is terrible.
I lost to someone in placements, and I saw them -40. I was like, "What is this?"
You hate to see it.
Yeah, that's intended.
This is a formidable opponent.
Man, all right. Let me see the next thing I have written down. I've been liking a lot of the good stuff to it. So one of the things that we barely mentioned a little bit, but JP server, right? We know they are not currently in RTA with us, right? Like they have not actually, they're not in our same queue. So do you think them adding JP would be something that would make the game more exciting? Do you think that they're ready, right? Or do you think that it's not really going to make that big of a difference and they're probably not going to struggle once they actually have to go against most players?
I have a lot of things to talk about on this topic.
Let's go.
I actually was discussing with other high-level players about this, right? The JP server. I think it's super cool if they're gonna add people in.
Yeah.
Because one fun thing for me about RTA is you match to players, right, in different regions. And sometimes you get to match to Korean players or people in Asian server.
Yeah.
And you actually might get a chance to know them on Discord or something. And that's one of the fun aspects to me. I think adding Japan server players would be a huge hit, right?
Mm-hmm.
It would be really good for the RTA and for the diversity as well. Because they might play something different, or they just have some really good players already, right? That you can compete in the high end. So yeah, definitely very positive.
Yeah, I'm pretty hyped about it too. I mean, the more brains in the game, the better. I think it's just it's a good exchange of kind of ideas and experiences. I played. I don't know how many other players in Legend would have touched a Katie's. I think it's a fun thing to play.
She's a cool unit.
But more people, more ideas, more cool units brought to the forefront. But I think it will be interesting because most of the work of playing RTA at a high level is done before you get in game.
That's true.
like in terms of how you structure your account, who you choose to prioritize for your best gear, what arties you want to put on, so they're all synergistic. Like that's a pretty intensive, and like I played hundreds of games of RTA before I really figured out the playstyle I wanted.
Yeah.
And so I think just like going from not having played RTA to playing it will take like a bit of just kind of
Learning,
grinding up the understanding of just because like it's a lot of work to really optimize your account well for RTA. But I mean, I think they'll get like they seem like pretty dedicated players, and so I'm sure they'll get there quicker than I'd expect. But yeah, it's definitely going to take a little bit of practice just to really get their account in order. Because like once you're in game and have a comp and pressing buttons, like it's hard. There's enough choices, but it's like a lot of the times you kind of know what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Like the one screenshot of the 321 speed acid.
Oh yeah. Oh, JP players. There's been a couple of builds that, man.
I think like another thing to consider is that RTA, because it's like the defining endgame content for E7. I feel like it's really important for the JP server to get that as soon as possible, so that they have like a reason to like stick with the game.
Yeah.
Like I think not only will it be like a good experience adding like a new server of people for currently existing RTA players, but like it'll be good on like for everyone involved.
Yeah.
But I remember a Legend player was like talking about like Japanese players, like a lot of them have like really good gear.
Yeah.
So like they're wondering like how good they'll be like right off the bat when they're added to the RTA server. And I remember another player saying, like no matter how good their gear is, like they felt RTA always comes down to like experience, right? Like especially in the last couple of days when everyone's pushing for like a top 100 finish. So they think that like just the simple gap, because all other servers have been playing RTA for like 4 seasons now.
Yeah.
So they think Japan needs to like get started so they can really try catching up to that experience gap.
Yeah.
Though there are definitely shortcuts to that. I mean, just like content creators, there's enough good RTA players to watch. Like, yeah, if you watch like Elf Mage every day for a year, you're probably gonna have a decent sense of like how to structure your draft.
Yeah.
And so like it kind of comes down to like there's work you can do before you're even able to play RTA to learn RTA.
Yeah. But then at the same time, I feel like Europe server never really caught up. Because like even now, when you look at top 100, you'll maybe see 1, 2 Europe players. So it's kind of one of those things that's like, are there going to be another Europe server where it's just a server that just gets just rolled on, right? Like stomped. Or are they going to be like more competitive, right? And I know that has a lot to do with like region based and like how seriously they take the game, but
the next Europe player you run into who beats you, he's gonna BM.
I mean, I'm not saying Europe server is bad, but it's just like for the most part, right? It's like they don't have a lot of representation in top 100, or even like top 150, right? Like for the World Cup, I think they had a player in the 200s, right? So it's one of those things that's like, I hope that when JP is added, it's not something that's just like they just instantly get stopped out and never really catch up, and like Europe.
Yeah.
But then again, maybe like in that region, they're more dedicated and they'll actually want to try RTA more, right?
Yeah, I'd be pretty optimistic about their chances.
Yeah, I feel like just based on gear level, I think they'll be pretty strong. It might take a bit for them to like get going, but I think by the end of the season there'll be some strong depth.
Yeah, for sure.
And there's like certain cleaves, like back when Cleave was a bit better a bit ago, you didn't really have to do any of your own thought. You could kind of just like copy the most meta Cleave picks in the same sequence every game. Not to disrespect you, Kkight, you're a master. Kkight's pivots are actually so sick. His like made Stene pivots, he's got it all down, and now he's given up on Cleave anyway. But
there's no more pivots. He just lost it.
But yeah, like there are certain kind of playstyles that are a lot more binary.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, I remember Cleave used to just be Faithless Litica, Oxlot Sedum, and then just 2 DPS. those are good
My
things.
Edam steal strat was so good.
Oh yeah, when you used to steal the that was good times.
That was the way that I beat the legend players who were 1k points higher than me. That was amazing.
I used to do that with. Here, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, yeah. I mean, honestly, like, I didn't think about it in terms of matching down as being inspirational, but I definitely, like, it got me hype in when I just was just starting out in RTA, to rack up some legend wins with my Chaos Inquisitor and Green Purgus.
Oh yeah,
the old school homies.
Yeah, that's good times. RTA, it's come a long way.
True.
As far as like, that kind of makes me wonder, because like, as far as like diversity, right, and like unit diversity and all that stuff, I feel like all in all, it's gotten better but worse at the same time. Do you guys kind of feel that, where it's like, yes, there's more units that are viable, but there's also just as many units that if you don't have, it's going to be extremely hard for you to compete, right?
Yeah.
And maybe that's just me, right? But I feel like without Landy, without like Carrot, right, and now without Violet or Maid, right, you're like at a significant disadvantage, even though there's other units. So it's like there are more playstyles and units being played, but it almost feels like less diverse in a way.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I think I played decently well to finish Legend, but like, there are certain units that I just couldn't get around. Like, if I didn't have Sage Ball, I wouldn't have an anti-cleave and wouldn't have finished Legend. Like, it's just that simple. Like, that single unit allows me to do things that I would have no ability to otherwise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I know that's like the big thing that a lot of early game players hate. It's just like they feel like they don't have the units, and like they'll list like the MO 5 stars that are like very strong right now. But
it's kind of funny you mentioned like Carrot earlier. You know, like there's like so many like mixed opinions on her, but
yeah,
and I always thought, you know, like having a 3-star be like, you know, Giga Broken. I don't think it's like the end all be all. Like it's something that, you know, every person can use.
Yeah,
and like I feel like I see like lower ranked people like kind of, you know, really appreciate the fact that she is so strong, because like anyone can use her. But I would say it's funny because I think like I also noticed last season, like I felt like there was a wide variety of playstyles. Like you could cleave, you could bruiser, you could play like pretty aggressively with like kind of like bruisery like heroes as well. And then you could play, you know, double, triple Soul Weaver and like play for Frenzy 10. But like, I think the reason is just like there are like, even within these play styles, like kind of several characters that really like define the comp. That if you don't use the character, it's like a lot harder to run that comp like to great success, which is the issue.
Yeah,
like, you know, I feel like for stall, right? Like if you know, like it's important you first pick Landy, or you know she's gonna destroy you. So you take that, and then you take, you know, every buff known to man, and then, you know, how does the enemy team play? But like, you know, it's like that kind of thing, right? Because you need Landy, and then you grab like Blue Crow, or like you grab Maid Chloe, and then it's like if you don't have like those heroes, then like you can't really opt into that playstyle effectively.
Yeah,
which is like, it's not the easiest issue to fix, but I don't know if Smilegate really considers that like a problem.
Yeah,
because this is kind of the way the game has been.
Yeah. I kind of want to hear from Healer on this one, because I know Healer doesn't really use too many of like the big meta ones. Like I rarely ever see him use Landy, right? He doesn't use Carrot, right? And it's just like, and he doesn't really have like that many big MO 5 stars that you use, right? And you made it pretty far.
Yeah, so it's just when you don't have a unit and you know they're gonna pick it, you just can't do anything about it, and that's something really frustrating. I don't have Blood Moon Haste or Maid Chloe. And last season, I could see the way a draft is going, and if I had that unit, I would instantly take it, so they couldn't. But since I didn't have the option to take away the unit, it makes drafting a lot harder. If they first pick Landy or like Maid, and you don't have Blood Moon Haste, and you're relying on RB as your DPS, it's kind of doomed, because you're gonna pick the haste too.
Yeah.
You can't pick RB, so you're down 1 DPS, and not a lot of other things are as good into Landy as RB.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, that goes back a bit to what I was saying, like at the very start about draft capital. Like, there are picks that are balanced by the back and forth. Like, yeah, if you early pick Maid, then you can get countered by Blood Moon Haste.
Yeah.
But that is kind of implicit on everyone having everything.
Yeah.
Like,
and like at the higher
as far
up you
as-
go, you have to assume that, right? Like, but honestly,
Yes,
you
yeah.
always have to assume your opponent has it, right? Because if you
Exactly.
if you draft SSB and like, oh, they don't have Roana, and you draft SSB first,
Yeah,
and then you get Roana
That is
last round of
true.
Crowd, you lose, right?
towards the end, though, a lot of people started to know my draft, and they didn't know I had Blood Moon Haste. So I faced so many Maids and RBs, and I just kind of gave up on the climb around like 170 on the last day. So,
Though, I mean, as I was saying, like, yeah, I couldn't have hit Legend without the, certain picks I have that enable certain styles. But I do feel like somewhat systemically, I mean, partially just because people don't have enough exposure to them, there are a lot of very good units that aren't like super fancy that probably should be used more. Like, I think Kkight is obviously crazy busted. If you've seen me stream, you probably have some
Dude,
sense of why.
After you play Kkight,
But, like-
I actually hate that unit.
But I think like Mursa is a great unit. I think if you're like a lower level player, Fighter Maya can be a great frenzy unit if you want to play that style early. Fire Maya making waves with healer. I think there are a lot of kind of underutilized units that have their niche that aren't seen as much and aren't like used as much as they could be.
so towards the end, I actually found this combo that I thought was pretty nice. It was Troublemaker Cosette and Fighter Maya.
Yeah.
Because you could give yourself the defense buff and then go one-shot something.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. F
You get the
is
50% CR boost too.
yeah. You do see those like nice shine units. It's fun. It's fun to see like people try like really cool units and to work out. Right now I feel like Charlotte is one of the ones that people are kind of sleeping on a little bit. And I definitely feel like
There was
that
one unit that I used that had best win rate of all my units. It was actually still bad guy.
Oh, because use them against Pavel.
That's the new meta tech, baby.
Uh,
To counter Pavel.
Anti-Pavel.
Now that everyone knows about it, they always last pick Pavel, so I don't get to use them as much anymore.
yeah.
Dude,
Yeah,
back when Pavel was starting off being used, people would pick him 2 or 3, and that it would be the 3 so bad guy games.
Yeah, because they're forced to either ban or take it.
The tech is dead now, but it originated from this guy, Healer Meta.
Yeah, it's interesting stuff. But man,
Also, as far as, I mean, I guess everyone can go around. 'Cause I feel like everyone should have one of these, like unused 4-star, 3-star units of the future. I'm gonna throw my vote towards Green Lots. I think he's actually a busted unit.
I thought you were gonna say Rin because I was like, yeah, Rin is actually a really good unit.
No.
But the Lots,
Green Lots,
How would you
baby.
be unused? I'm using Rin over here.
Green Rin is a 4-star unit that I actually think has a lot of potential, right? But Green Lots, my thing, it's like, why? I mean, he is annoying, right? I will give you that. I have faced him before, but he doesn't have enough like board presence. I feel like he himself doesn't really do anything.
So the tech is you run Tome. His S2 is 100% push on another unit, and with Tome 60% push on himself. Then S3 is a 20% push on everyone, then a 50% push on himself. Then the S2's again for 100% push, 60% push on self. And then you win, because you've taken 17 turns. Best unit. Do you have one, Lunar?
I think the understanding the reason like people, like I always thought people would try using or want to use him in cleave, right? Like you could do like double lots memes or stuff like that, but people didn't like his base speed, being 101.
Oh, his base speed sucks.
But 4 stars.
Do I have to say one that's like not used, or can I already be using them?
No, just one of what you think is the stock is rising would be the thought.
Yeah. Alright. I mean, I have a couple.
Okay, let's get the healer tech out.
All right.
Oh, like Blair said, Green Rin.
Okay.
She's really good.
Yeah.
But like, she's more known already.
Semi.
Semi.
Except I run mine differently. I like a speed build on Water's Origin more.
Oh.
I like the counter build because it just instant to G-perk every time. So.
You know, I only ran into this hero a couple of times, but I remember a hero that I thought was kind of annoying near the end of the season. Last season, there's this like one like guy who's like went in and out of Legend who uses Assassin Cartuja. Like like there's like a meme that like if you just want to add some RNG, see if you can luck sack a win, you just last pick it.
Yeah.
Or you can go like you can like draft evasion units with it and see if you can toll your opponent to a victory. I don't know if he's like rising stock, but I think he's like better than people like give it credit for.
If
like I know
there's
there's
an S1, I think he would be actually used consistently. It's just his S1 is
so bad.
So bad.
So bad. The S3 is good though. Like the defense stun, that's like really valuable. Right? Especially if you have like
bleed is just such a useless debuff.
Yeah, and S2, like every time you take a turn, guaranteed dodge. That's so good if he had like more things to do.
Yeah. Like if his S1 like either actually did damage or provoked, right? Something that's like actually like threatening.
So my push for him would be S1 silences, like an assassin tech kind of vibe maybe, and that would really kind of add to his disruptor role. I think that would be hype.
That could be interesting for AK.
So for his S1, if you want it to be useful, you can always run a Champions Trophy and you just get a 25%.
Oh my god. No, I think I'll stick to Durando.
Just Hyrule, the classic tech.
Oh man.
But actually though, I think Fire Maya has a lot of potential because a lot of dodge units coming around. She can full team CC, attack break, and provoke, even though the provoke's only 75%. But like,
and the fact that she doesn't hit is pretty good too.
But, you should tell them about your Blingo too. You used him quite a bit last season.
Blaze Dingo too.
Yeah.
Underrated unit. And Crimson Armin.
Dingo, I feel like it's a straight in the carrot, so that's why I have to pre-ban carrot if I ever want to use Blingo.
Yeah, it's
build to protect SSG,
Yeah.
or just straight up nuke. If the team is squishy, I can just sober in his S3 and he just kills everything.
Have you only
He
ever
does so much
tried
damage.
aggro Blaze Dingo, or does like is Slow Dingo a build at all, or is it just too awkward and janky?
Guru has one.
Oh, okay.
There's a lot of really cool builds out there, which is still really cool to see. But you just have to find the right people that are doing the right things, right? Like the fun things.
Dude, you mentioned Crimson Armin earlier, Blair. She's gonna be everywhere next season. I already know.
I'm kind of not looking forward to it because she's always been a unit that I've hated going against. Because like the thing about Crimson Armin is like once you know how to use that unit, you can draft her properly and you can put her in like in more aggressive drafts. And it becomes, if I ban this unit, they keep their full aggro draft. If I don't, they get double Night Artifact potentially, and a 2/2 because they can just invincibility their whole team, right? So she's a scary one. She'll be interesting in the future.
Her stock is
Armin and
definitely.
Troublemaker I feel like are gonna be really insane in an aggro meta because they can double Night Artifact, like, and provide so much more too.
Yeah.
Last season,
the Knight of the future.
last season I ran into someone who did like double invincibility comp with SSD. They did C Armin plus Elena, and then they just took all the unbuffables off the board. And I was like, I'm in danger. Like there's nothing I could do.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do about it. And like they'll pair up with like
Why
a
did you ban
Landy.
the SSD? What was the thing?
They had another DPS I thought was more annoying. I think I banned Landy or something.
Yeah, it was probably. I think they used Landy, and I think Kkight uses that draft, but he uses Strasse, like tank Strasse.
Toxic build.
So it's.
But that was like
I remember running into the number 3 legend, the Green Rin, a mirror.
Oh yeah.
The worst thing ever. It got greater attack buff and evasion.
That's tough. That's tough. So going off of that, what do y'all think the meta will be next season? Granted, we know that we're getting those new units, which is gonna like completely shake everything up, and everything we talked about right now will probably be like obsolete. But like, if right now, just from what you've played in preseason, like the units you're starting to see people try out as a tech.
You know, it's preseason, but I don't think people are like trying out really the units that much. I think, you know, besides like Landy, you know, Stane, RB, Kkight, who I think, you know, there hasn't been any meaningful changes to them. They're still going to be great DPSs.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, one new hero that people, I think, you know, would like to add to their roster is obviously Green Violet. I think we'll be seeing a lot more of him with this buff.
Yeah, for sure.
I think until collab or Summer Series comes, it's gonna be like the same meta, except F10 isn't used as much.
Yeah, F10. I think F10 at this point is like she just feels bad. I don't know if that's just me or if it's just if you guys have experienced it. But every time I see an F10, if she's picked anywhere before last pick, she feels like she didn't do anything in the game.
Yeah, she went from
F10 gear to Fire Maya.
Yeah.
Yeah, she went from like a core unit to a matchup unit. I think.
Yeah.
Like she can still like if I draft like if they draft Landy, I draft Charlotte, and I don't have a like anti-debuff unit already. Like if she's last pick, I just have to ban her because she just bodies Charlotte so hard. But it's definitely not a default thing that you can just bust out anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So F10, I remember I used her all the time when she was first released, right? And I was one of the first to build like a 290 above F10, like debuff her opener.
Yeah.
But these days, I feel like the reason why we don't see F10 that often is because we have a lot of like counters units introduced to the game. For example, we have the Green Violet, right? Newly buffed Green Violet. And we have ML Kawazu as well, self-cleanse and steals away the turn. And yeah, there's just a lot more. And you can just maybe stack some, you know, Soul Weavers, try to resist, or FCC, right? If you don't have FCC on your side and you are not able to debuff. That's why we don't see F10 that oppressive, and which is a good thing because she used to be too overpowered, right? She used to be like a must pick or ban hero.
Like her release, I think, man, F10 have a lot of choice words about her. Because,
also,
man, go ahead, Kyle.
As far as predictions about the future meta go, the match that was just on is a showcase of, I think, the new era of Stene builds, which is basically the old era of Stene builds. I think Bruiser Life Seal Stene is dead. I think full YOLO DPS Stene is coming back strong.
Yeah, I've been kind of feeling that too a little bit. Because right now it's like everyone kind of knows how to deal with the tanky Stene, but no one knows how to deal with a big DPS Stene.
Yeah, like you have your maid like chilling, Stene gets G-Purg or D-End or mated, or wait, not maid because we're killing her, but then you just double tap her with your soul burn because you're like straight YOLO DPS, like you're just winning now, easy money.
Yeah.
But maid gets to go first anyway, so...
That's true. It'll be interesting, but I don't know. Next, so it's always like, it usually like seasons only really change when we get new units, right? So I feel like unless they have a batch or of SEs and like the new the next week we'll know for sure if they're really gonna shake up the meta or not.
Alright, but is a hotly topic no one talks about.
Okay.
Which EE do you think is the best on general purchase?
Oh no. Okay.
No.
I know what he's gonna say.
The defense one is annoying, but if someone's focusing your G-Purg, they probably are already losing or you're already losing, which is why I feel like the CR one is the best.
I'm a CR guy. I think it's just too much value.
The -1, +3.
You know, I've seen him like stream some games using that cheaper EE, and I've seen like it's actually kind of big brain. Like, cause he just soul burns it, and then I swear he gets to use it every turn. Like, it feels like
it's definitely good for like frenzy G-Purg because if you're like going late and bruisering, you just do it every other turn. But
well, that extra 3%, man, that's like the difference between like winning and losing a game, right? Turn 1.
I mean, I think it's a weirdly specific metric because I use Landy every game, and that 3% is the difference between my unit staying ahead or their unit cutting. So I'm terrified of that 3% relative to the other options personally.
Yeah, like that goes a long way, right? It's better to have won the game because you were able to outspeed than to have win it because you have to go all the way to frenzy with G-Bird.
Because he's by his nature a pretty aggro unit.
Yeah. Which is weird because like I see a lot of people still talk about Golden Boys, but I feel like they're pretty much out of the meta at this point. Like they have not made an impact the past like few months.
Like I probably play the closest thing to Golden Boys you'll see, and I still play like very few Golden Boys.
Yeah, like the only one you constantly use is Last Radicraw, right?
And when I first pushed for Legend, I was drafting him in a Tywin every game, and I still draft a Tywin a little bit.
Yeah.
But definitely not the default anymore.
Yeah, the thing about Golden Boys out of the meta, right? I think one big reason is because of Kkight. So if you run Golden Boys into Kkight, you're gonna be in trouble unless you have clans and you have other supports for your, the two big knights. And the other one is Landy, right? Previously, we only have Landy as a Golden Boys counter, and right now we have Kkight, Landy, and even the newly buffed ML right? Can be put into Golden
Strays
Boys
too.
Yeah, absolutely. So there are a lot of options
actually
now.
pretty good against Golden Boys.
ML Ken actually feels like not that bad. Like I don't know if it's just me or I haven't played him, but he doesn't feel like as bad as people make him out to be.
I am actually a pretty big proponent of ML Ken. I think he's pretty good, specifically against RB. I think he makes the RB matchup really hard to play, and RB stock's a little down right now, I think, but like you still see him, he's still RB.
Yeah. I mean, we saw him right here in the match.
In this meta right now.
Yeah, blue 50s RB is actually pretty bonkers.
It's like 5k attack, right?
Yeah, 5k.
It has a
300.
better RB.
Yeah, it's damage RBs are, and then you see the Pleiades too. Like Cleve is chilling right now. I mean, I know they have a lot of counters, but most of their counters are still RNG focused.
Yeah.
Like, for example, to beat a Cleaver, I have to pick Violet and Elena, but if they have Pleiades, then Elena is essentially countered, right? And then the Violet, it's like, I'm seeing a lot more. Pavel is really good into him because the S2 doesn't trigger counter attack. You see, like, for example, like Kkight said, how he's picking the, like, defensive units like Maid, right? Where, like, you can come back. If you fail your cleave, you're able to easily come back into the game. So.
Kkight used Miss Confile on his series.
Yes, Miss Confile lover.
The best, like, if you fail the cleave of an artifact, I feel.
No, they're doubting in the chat. They're doubting that Blue's RB is over 5k. I don't know if he's posted it in Discord or not.
Yeah, his RB is really good.
His RB is probably the best cleaver.
Send it in the general.
We're sending it. This is confirmed.
Send it in the general, and I'll add it. Because it is a 5k. It is a 5k 220 speed RB. It is disgusting. But yeah, Blue, if you can send the screenshot and like just add me it, and I'll show it to everyone because people don't believe.
It's just 200 speed, but I think it's also 300 crit damage or so.
It's like. If you S2, you're killing the whole enemy team, essentially.
Yeah, because it's tuned for Flan, right? Because you don't want to go to 350 crit damage if you're getting the crit damage buff.
Yeah.
So it has, I think, nearly exactly 300 crit damage.
But the speed, I think, is 200. No, there was someone else in the chat. Not you, AS. It was AZ. There was someone else in the chat that was like, no way, it's 5k.
It's busted, dude.
But... man, what do you think we're gonna get for the anniversary for Kkight7? Because like we haven't got an SC in a long time, and I'm really hoping there's something like big, because I feel like everything's getting a little stale for me.
So, I mean, they announced Mercedes specialty change a while ago.
I was thinking the same thing, Cal.
And her kit is like her kit's nearly pretty good right now. Like
That's
she's
true.
Basically Judge Kkight, but Judge Kkight isn't too much, but like her cleave potential is pretty wild. And if they make her cleave potential better, like we may see like the return of like A-Lot's especially changed Mercedes and stuff.
Yeah, my theory is that they're gonna release her with the end of episode 3, and I think that's why I think that is the reason why they've been installing SCs. My theory is that since the anniversary comes out, I think August, right? Like this month, they're gonna drop Mercedes and another SE at the same time. So that's why they're really like holding off, because maybe they're gonna release 2. That's my theory, right? But
I am pretty curious because like for the second anniversary, like it was so hype. They like released a bunch of like different like content stuff. Like they teased a bunch of like ML heroes and side stories, and they showed off the new episode. Episode 3.
Yeah.
I don't know what to expect from this one, considering we're still in the episode. We haven't actually seen all the ML heroes that they teased at, like ML Charles, and then like some of the side stories too.
Yeah.
I feel like it might be more low key, but I bet one thing they would probably announce during the 3rd anniversary is that JP is joining the RTA. They haven't actually officially announced it yet.
I do think that's gonna be really really good for the community as a whole, because then you get more players playing RTA, which means you get to see cooler builds and like less stale matches. But man, that's gonna be a good time. I'm excited for it. I'm just ready for like the down of like Kkight7 to like move past, because like the past 4 months have been like kind of slow,
a little dry.
Because they did the new player thing with RB, where you can pull RB, and then they did the Advent, which a lot of players weren't able to do, and we haven't gotten anything else besides that, right? So I know we're getting the Guild Wars stuff, but I kind of want them to release a new PvP mode. Like, how would y'all feel about like 3v3 RTA instead of 5v5, kind of like Guild Wars vibe, or like
sequential
PvP
fights,
game
right?
modes, right?
Yeah. I think there's definitely some interesting potential here. I think going back to what Lunar said, there's some concerns about like splitting queues in like a practical sense, but like, I think the way to grow the game is to have more fun things to do. So I would say that's secondary, just having cool experiences.
Yeah.
I don't think they need another PvP game mode. I would say like on the reverse, there's like a lot of people who are like PvE only. And I feel like they really liked, content like Advent, even if, like the Epic Hell game mode was not the easiest to do.
That's true.
I almost feel like, like they're also adding the Guild War, like PvE in the future.
Yeah.
I feel like, obviously there's like people who are like, PvE only or like PvP only, and they like don't really bother with like the other side that much. But
yeah.
I just feel like if they can find like a good balance, like, I don't know. Because like Guild War, Arena, and RTA, like I think it might be hard to find like another PvP game mode that can really keep up.
Yeah, unless they added on to Guild Wars and expanded on it.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of. Like
I feel like what would be more meaningful is just like finding ways to change like Arena and like Guild War, which like people who like kind of main this content will always say it's kind of stale.
Yeah.
Just like making those game modes more accessible and like more like a more meaningful like feeling of like partaking in that content.
Yeah, because Guild Wars right now, the rewards are still like, yeah, you get the mystics, which is cool, but like end of season rewards, it's like it's only your guild that gets it, and if you leave that guild, it's like who cares, right? It's like you left.
Yeah,
you get nothing to show for it. You could have been in the top 1 guild for like 2 years, switch to like a bottom 500 guild, and you have nothing to show for it, right?
Yeah,
which can be frustrating. I know for the people that play Guild Wars, that's the biggest thing that they want. It's like actual support for it. Going back to RTA, and I know it's getting close to 1 hour and a half, so I know if some of you guys need to leave, it's fine. I'll probably stay on a little bit longer. But as far as the one thing I've been thinking about is the two prevent system, like the World Cup one. How do y'all feel about that being implemented at higher ranks? Like, let's say once you hit Emperor rank, they implement 2 prevents. Or do you think earlier? I personally think like having 2 prevents in Emperor would be interesting, because it would make it would benefit players that remember other players, as well as like open up more drafting compositions.
I think it would be I wonder if it's too taxing, because like I finished Legend, but I'm still like kind of on the lower end as far as accounts go, I would say. And like there just aren't that many options for some of the specific roles. Like back in the before preseason where all the buffs happened, if you were banning Landy and Carrot and picking Stene, you've kind of won the Bruiser matchup by default, right?
Yeah, it's kind of unplayable for the enemy team.
Yeah.
So it just feels like there aren't enough options for that to be super consistent for most players. Like for the world champions, you can just assume they have like every relevant thing, but even for like legend level players, it can be pretty taxing to get locked out of a style instantly.
Yeah.
I also feel like I mean, it might just be me who like thinks this, but I feel like limiting the 2 pre-bans to like a certain rank and up, I feel like it feels a little, I don't know, I feel like for like, you know, people in lower ranks who would want to like pre-bans, like they might feel kind of discouraged that you have to get to like Emperor, and then like it's like with 2 pre-bans, I think it like almost completely changes like the way like you play RTA. Because you have to like anticipate, you know, different things. Like if they ban these 2 heroes, then you know, I just can't play this style straight up because I'm missing like the key components that I need to like draft around. No, I feel like there's like, I feel like if you're gonna do 2 pre-bans, I think you just do it throughout, you know, all ranks. I think that's like the best approach to it. But
yeah, the only problem that I have with like earlier ranks and why I say it would be for higher ranks is because, especially like in Bronze through Master, they already don't have that many units. So 2 prevents, that would be like 4 units off the board for players
that'd
that
be pretty
probably
crushing.
have 5, right? That's super hard to do for early game players, right? Like that would just make it hard, like harder to enter into RTA, which I already think it's like decently hard, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely really hard for new players to just hop in.
Yeah, especially because like people have like an advantage of just like being around for longer, right?
That's true.
But what do you think, Kkight? You think they should 2 pre-bans? Are you against it? I feel like you're probably gonna be against it. I feel like most people are gonna be against it.
I'm like a huge against 2 pre-bans, mainly because of my playstyle. I think 2 pre-ban can actually kill a lot of playstyle, right? If they know you really well, they know what are your best units. If especially higher up, if you fight players very often, and we kind of know each other a lot of times. So, but at the same time, I feel like as the unit pool grow, right, in the future for Kkight7, when they release more heroes, there might be a high possibilities for the company to implement the 2 pre-bans, because there's going to be a point that there are too many heroes, right? And there are a lot of like viable heroes in the meta. But I'm not sure if right now is the best moment to release the 2 pre-bans. As if for me, like if I'm running into someone that target ban me, I think I'm probably going to lose. I wouldn't even be able to rank very high.
Yeah.
That's just my personal take on this.
Yeah. It would definitely make it harder for like players that are making Legend because they have a very strong draft versus just having like a big unit pool.
Yeah. Like it was, I don't know if you guys have like watched some of the unit reviews that came out after like the season ended and World Championships, but like the World Champion winner.
Oh, his account was disgusting.
He has some busted units, but the thing that struck me more than anything was how many just like good units he had. Like a couple were SSS crazy tier, but a lot of them were just like every unit in the game was also A tier, and that's that's really hard to do.
Yeah.
Like just having so many options like that are like actually like draftable because they have like, you know, like an acceptable like level of gear for that level, like is really insane when you think about it. Like the amount of like good to great gear that is on that account.
Yeah, it's tough. I just remember seeing the T-Stern in the crowd and I was like, man, if I could ever get a unit like that.
Revenge that crowd.
That revenge crowd actually hit.
I was like, that's not only does it look better than my crow, but it's on revenge set. I was like, all right, I'm done. But no, I agree with you guys. Like the unit pool thing is a huge advantage because if you're drafting, you can usually get to a point where you know most likely what the next unit your opponent is going to pick. Right? You get to a point where like you know he has like 3 different options. But you can't, if you don't have the unit to counter or to steal, then you just have to accept that the opponent's going to get it.
Draft capital, baby.
Yeah, I think in the future they'll have no choice but to add like another pre-ban, just like when the roster gets even bigger.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think like Kkight said, maybe it's too early.
Too early, you think still?
Yeah.
We're getting close though. We're like what? Oh, well, there's a lot of heroes that are not viable though. That's a problem too.
Yeah.
Like 4 stars. Like not all of them, but a lot of 4 stars are just not viable, and a lot of 3 stars aren't viable either.
Yeah, the issue is like, there are only so many like slots you can fit into a comp, right? Like every unit has to have some immediate benefit towards you winning, and there are a lot of units that do like a cool thing, but that singular cool thing isn't enough. Than like, fucking Stene, who can do 7 different things: protect yourself, stun units, double tap units off Soulburn. Like, she has like multiple layers of things that make her viable, and a lot of the best units do, as opposed to like a singular thing that looks cool at one moment.
Yeah.
You're telling me Green Euthine and Stene are not on the same level?
Green Euphine's kind of sick though.
Oh man. So the other question I had, so this is one that it's because a lot of players do mention this, and like that's the one reason why people don't like to get into RTA, is they think they have to have godly speed gear or godly gear period to be able to compete, even at the lower levels. What do y'all think about that? How do y'all feel about it? Like, do y'all think it's true? Do you think it's just they have to try more? Maybe you think it's draft diff? Or do you actually think it's like
100% true. Speed's the only viable option in this game.
Cal, do you mind
no
if I
real
show
way
your
to play
units?
without it.
A few of your units that you have on the Discord server?
Go for it.
Alright, let me and also the people that were wondering for Blue's Bildred, Arbiter Bildred, that we said was broken, this is Blue's Arbiter Bildred, right? So 5.2k, almost 300 crit damage. And look at, he's even wasting stats on the effectiveness technically. Wasted. But yeah,
True.
This is a crazy RB.
Actually,
So,
don't show me that.
Our boy Cal here, his Twitch bio is, I finished Legend with my fastest unit at 210.
Yeah, so if we look at his units, all his, you do not farm Wyvern, which is like the thing that is crazy to me, because people are like, oh, I have no speed gear, I can't compete, right? And that's the one that I'm always like, I don't have a good example. Well, now I have you. And like, just look at all your units.
I can't farm Wyvern, it's too hard, dude.
That's a really good Ameru, by the way.
Yeah, the Amer is disgusting. But let me see, like, even your Sage Ball is 180 speed. That's crazy. How does this cut? I know you resist Cerise though, with that FRS, that's crazy.
So actually, it's not really designed to function by itself. Usually I'm pairing it with Made for an extra 34 with Imprint.
Okay.
And actually, Secret Tech, Landy's, release imprint is actually FRES. So you put that on Sage and Mara when I drafted my anti-cleave. That's that high-level brain gameplay.
Using the imprint. And then you start Kkight. This is probably your best unit for sure.
Whoa. Here, let me show the updated.
Updated? You've updated this?
Hell yeah, of course. There we go. Very marginal stat increase, but it's better. We gotta show it that way. Gotta show peak Kkights.
Wait. Oh yeah, by the way, if y'all are curious on Cal and on Kkight, which are 2 people that have joined me, Lunar is a member of the Discord. You can always add him in the Discord. But as far as Kkight and Cal, they both are YouTubers / streamers, and they both finished Legend. I always encourage people to watch high level play. So I believe that one's Kkight, and then the other one is the Twitch one. So let me separate them so it's easier. So Cal, if you want to follow him, this is Cal's account, Cal's units. He is Legend level, doesn't farm Wyvern 13. He's in Banshee 13 for life, essentially.
Easy money. All day, every day.
So this is Cal's Twitch stream. If you want to go check it out, throw him a follow. And then this is going to be Kkite's YouTube channel. I don't know if
like the extent to which Cal doesn't do Wyvern, when like the Red Expo was taken out, he was like, yes!
I was scammed. They removed Banshee, and then they weren't going to remove Wyvern, and I felt scammed, but they finally followed through. I'm so happy.
So this Discord is not actually like the regular Discord. This is actually the King Blair Discord. But some other people put their builds in here too, which is pretty crazy.
Actually, here, I'll just here, stay on there for... There we go.
Okay.
Okay, easy money.
And then All right. I want to. Oh, by the way, I'm sorry I did not watch this match at all, but it looks like it's really tight because we were there for a minute, and this still seemed to be slugging it out. Frenzy 3, yeah. Let me see your updated Kkight. This is Cal's updated Kkight, and he loves this unit clearly. No skin though. I'm surprised. No summer.
What
skin.
do you mean? The swimsuit of Katie's?
Yeah, no swimsuit of Katie's. Come on now. But oh man, yeah, it's interesting because I feel like honestly that's the one. Like I get when people say, "Oh, I'm early game," or like I don't have the greatest gear, right? I can understand that why you can't get too far in RTA. When people say I don't have speed gear, period, and I can't climb because I don't have speed gear, I get like, I don't think you need speed gear, right? It's not as pivotal as people make it out to be, in my opinion.
I mean, I think the big thing, and like kind of what defines every choice I've made on my account, is building units for purposes.
Yes.
It's not about like looking at someone else's build and saying like, oh, that's busted, I want to do that. It's understanding how your units relate to your draft.
Yeah.
Like I have a Stene that probably most people in this like watching could make a better one because she's on speed set. I don't have great speed gear.
Yeah.
But she works at a, like legitimately legend level because when I draft her, they're not contesting AoE, and so it's not that hard to make a good Stene that works when they don't have AoE.
Yeah.
And so like kind of understanding that like each unit needs to like be a cohesive part of what your account wants to do is I think more than anything the important thing.
Yeah. That cohesive draft goes a long way.
Yeah.
And then there's Kkight, which I don't think you can play Kkight's playstyle without good gear. So if you, that will just be.
Yeah, I mean, I have a point on this, right? So actually, I think Tav, by the way, who is also in the Discord, he mentioned it's actually easier if you have speed gear. I think that's partially true because for speed units, you only need one stat, right? That's speed, right? You just want to get the fastest, and then you try to take that turn advantage and maybe push up your DPS or try to do debuffs like before your opponents can go. So you don't really need other stats, to be honest, right? It's good sometimes if you have crits, right, to push up your challenger Dominio. But overall, if you play slow, I feel like you need a lot of stats, right? You need health, you need defense as well, right? You need like effect resistance. So I think it's hard, but like as back to your question, right? Like for new players getting into RTA, try to climb up. I think the key point is you need to have good gears, whether it's speed or it's like tanky gears, right? The quality of the gear really matters because you can run into a cliff, but if you have really tanky gears, you can sustain the damage and then fight back. Then we call it like a gear gap, right? It's like that.
Yeah, there's definitely.
So it actually are like tanky players in Legend, right? And when you run into them, you just feel like their units are, untouchable and unkillable.
Maybe.
And,
I mean, I think it's harder because like generally like counter heroes, right? You run them slower, so you generally want immunity as well. And it's like you don't get actually any bonus stats from either of those two sets.
Yeah.
To make up the stats that you lose by having just higher gear score on the gear, like it's pretty difficult to like gear like those types of units, like counter units, like especially when you want to use them at like a really high level, like making up for those bonus sets by just rolling higher stats on your gear. It's pretty difficult.
Yeah.
I mean, like there's no like shortcut to climbing in Epic 7. I don't think. Like whatever you're doing, you just have to do it well, and like understanding what you're trying to do and like understanding what you need to look for to execute it is just like how you're going to progress.
Yeah, that's fair. Oh, there's someone talking in the chat. I realized now. Hello, Iseo. Let me see. I forgot who was next in the. It's probably Rain. But yeah, it's a good time. RTA is fun. I honestly wish more people could like have a better experience in it, but I know a lot of people don't like RTA, and it's just.
I feel like that's a sufficient summation of our podcast. Yeah. RTA is fun.
RTA is fun. as far as like,
I think RTA is fun.
I still have fun with it, although it felt more stale in actual season than in preseason. Like with Violet, I feel like things are a little bit more spicy again. As long as you ban Carrot or pick Carrot, right? Because she's everywhere. But I've been having fun so far with RTA.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious to see, because you guys haven't fought yet. I kind of want to see if you guys fought a couple people so I can see y'all's playstyle. So I can see Cal's try to break through Cal's wall.
I left the room for a sec to.
No, you're too far. I mean, it is the current farming, but you know, I should be farming right now.
Back in.
But I went to this podcast. So as far as like questions that I had, those are all like the discussion points that I had. All the questions I wanted to ask y'all. If the chat has any questions for Cal, for Kkight, for me, for Lunar, about anything, RTA questions, just anything for us to talk about, feel free to. But like the structured segment is pretty much over at this point. So it's like I'll probably be closing stream like within the next 30 minutes or so. So this video doesn't get too long and people can actually watch it as a video rather than like a 3-hour stream. But yeah, any questions that y'all have, right? I don't know if there's a stream at the same time. There's a Kkight8x7 stream right now? I didn't know that. But yeah. Oh, I still have to build so many new units for the new season. Like I feel like I took like a small break during like the downtime. Like I didn't farm at all at Kkight8x7. I was just logging in to do my dailies. And I've been fighting other people and I feel like I'm getting clapped, right? Like I feel like I fell behind just because of 3 months that I didn't play the game. Right? So it's
3 months is pretty long.
It's a pretty long time, yeah. And it's like I have like so many good units on the like right there, but I feel like I don't have gear for them now. So can't do much. Or Catalyst, which still suck. But yeah, Lunar, you weren't here for this question, but I'm kind of curious to hear your thoughts on it. But it was asking, what do you think they're going to do with the new units? Like, what do you think they're going to release to try to counter things like the Carrot or the Maid, right? Like, what can you do with the new units that does this? Because, like, Control as a whole right now, like we were talking about, is pretty much dead, right? There's no Control unit that can release unless it's, like, dummy overtuned, right? Which is usually the way that you would beat units like Kkight, right? So, what do you think?
So, I think generally, limited units. I mean, I guess maybe not as much lately, but especially with the idea that they can be buffed, right?
Yeah.
And like since this is a collaboration and it's been delayed, I'd imagine they're gonna make the units like on the stronger side.
Yeah.
But I feel like generally what they've been doing more with like recent hero releases that are really strong is like adding new like game mechanics.
Mm-hmm.
Like I remember when F10A was first released, like the redirected provoke into the S2, like everyone like it was like such a mind-blowing mechanic and it was like kind of overpowered on release.
Yeah.
Like it kind of warped the meta like upon a release. I'm not a game designer, right? I don't know if I can come up with like a game mechanic that they haven't done before that would like just change the game.
Yeah.
But I feel like, like even with like Strays, right? I mean Strays, he doesn't really. I mean, his game mechanic is that he S3, so then your tank dies.
Yeah,
but, like his S2, right? Like like the idea that is based on who has higher attack. I mean, it's gonna be Strays, but like the fact that it can't be resisted if you have higher attack, like a conditional, unresistible strip. I think something like that is like such a interesting idea. And I feel like in order for like the new heroes to be strong, like they're gonna give them mechanics that are not like in the game yet to really change things up.
Yeah.
By the way, spicy peak of future tech. Highest HP adamant Senya counter strays.
Nope. Nope. Nope.
You get 5k. Like it's actually, we've done a bit of testing with this, and it's actually pretty good.
I mean, it'll still Strasse. I will give you that, but I know Senya is not bad for countering Strasse. I just don't think Strasse is at that point yet for RTA, but for Arena it would be nice.
Yeah, and it's like always, as a like draft capital, sometimes you just throw it out in the right place and they have to ban it, which gives you, better options. And
yeah.
Kkight, Yeah, I don't know if you ran into this, but I remember near the end of last season and like in preseason as well, I've seen Senya used as like a anti-cleave tech, and it didn't seem too bad.
Yes, actually, Senya can be a very viable pick in anti-cleave scenarios because of the anti-crit and also giving up random buffs to your units. If you run like a full tank anti-cleave, if the opponent is not very good on the damage side of the gear, and you might run into some trouble. I actually lose one fight against Lakari, by the way. Like, he's a very popular Twitch streamer, right? Who's getting into E7, and he basically picked Senya and along with like LR Crow, I believe, like all of tanky heroes, and I wasn't able to kill the entire team. And actually, my Arbiter Villager just died within like one Senya S1 counter, with the drink proc. Not really the drink proc, but like is that the artifact?
Yeah.
The thing about
so it's very interesting to see. Yeah.
My only thing for anti-cleaving, why I stopped using Senya, is because of how many people use Polides for cleave now. Because if you put Senya into Polides, it's literally a throw. Because the Polides is just gonna S2 you, and it's just like, okay, thanks for the free damage. But I could still see it for just countering Strauss as a whole. One of the questions, this is more towards Kkight and to Cal. Someone was asking, do you think for legend level players, once they finish, like you guys finished legend last season, should you guys start at a higher point than everyone else, or should you just do the full reset that everyone gets, right? So kind of like in arena, how if you're higher rank, you kind of start high, right? Like they drop you down to the next lowest, right? So what do you think? I personally think it's fine the way it is right now, because if they put legends as legend, that would be such a huge advantage, and you wouldn't be able to play RTA for a while either.
Yeah, I don't think there's any immediate need. I mean, I guess one question or concern would be, like, is the rating you're shown MMR, or is it like a superficial rating? Like, does the game know that I have Legend MMR when I'm in placements, and like if I lose to someone lower than that, does it like crush my score?
I don't think they do, though.
I would imagine it's a hard reset.
It's a hard reset, like, I'm pretty sure.
Damn, so everyone was losing 40 the ladder reset? That's
like
brutal.
right now it's just terrible. Like the current point system is just terrible. And they said it was bad, right? Like they said they wanted to change it in the matchmaking, but the point system got messed up somehow, and they're just not gonna fix it.
But yeah, like if they are like keeping my MMR, I should probably have some like better point gains to compensate. But if it's like a straight reset, then there's no reason to benefit me relative to someone else.
Yeah. I know Kkight is currently drafting his full cleave teams, but what do you think, Kkight? Would you would you want to stay higher rank, or would you rather just start like everyone else, and then it's easier to climb up? Honestly, I feel.
For me, I don't think there's a need to start off like with a different rank, because sometimes I do like to play some, casual games where I don't really pick, all the competitors pick. And being at high rank, that means you're gonna lose the fight. So I don't see a point of like starting off with a different ranks.
Yeah, you can have fun when you're climbing up to high champ, and then
early in preseason, my default comp was Yuna, Lots, HUFI, Landy, and top model.
Oh my god. Oh my goodness.
I lost almost every match, but on like one occasion, I cycled everyone perfectly from like CR push to CR push to CR push to CR push, and killed the entire field before they got a turn, and that felt pretty good.
Oh man.
I hate that I have to ask this, but your top model is on speed set, right?
She's currently not on anything, so get pranked, Lunar.
Okay.
Also, I love how this Pebble was really fast, I'm pretty sure. And it it killed 2 units in one combo.
Also,
it's a very strong cleave unit in the meta right now.
Yeah.
Kkkight's cleaving right now, but when I ran into him, he was a 30 made CR picker. Don't trust it.
One of the questions someone asked, I know there's the most recent one. Someone asked, what set does meta Stene use? I want to say
Destruction.
lifesteal or speed is fine, but stop. But I feel like immunity and speed, right? Or immunity lifesteal, depending if you want more damage.
As far as like playing the higher ranks goes, I think the most common thing is lifesteal. I'd say it's like 65, 70, 30 lifesteal to speed.
Yeah. I have mine on speed. I think lifesteal is just so hard to build, and like people that don't have the gear quality will try it, and like they're losing on so many stats.
Yeah.
That's why I stuck to speed set, because I was just like, I really like regular speed set. So
honestly, like that was a secret part of my climb to like why I finished Legend, because I was relying on my proof Landy living through like Basar into even like double hit from Stene. And if they put that on speed set and have more room for DPS stats, I lose a lot of those matchups. But because they were on lifesteal, it was so easy to live through the Stenes.
Yeah, because the Stenes don't have damage anymore.
Yeah, which is why we swing back Destruction, 350 crit damage, 4k attack, Stene, the future.
Yeah, it's funny because this unit's like been kind of dead, but like the one thing I saw that would one-shot Kyle's like Landy, or like in those like types of comps, is like Kron, like a high damage Kron.
Yeah. So this is not a direct question, but they're asking to talk about A Ravi, which brings me up. What units do you think they should buff and nerf for RTA? Because for me, A Ravi, I personally think she's a unit that needs a buff and could be good, because we don't have a LQC counterpart but for Dark, and Axe God does not count. He was butchered. He was butchered. Like, it was terrible. So I personally think A Ravi being a big counter to Light would be cool to see, but like give him the buffs to give Axe God.
In the Smilegate realm of balancing things, like if you could counter Maid somehow, maybe S3 extincts as well as revives. Let's go.
Yeah, or penetrate Light's defense.
Kind of crazy.
Penetrate Light defense for A Ravi. But just any other unit that you think could get a buff and it'd be really unique, right? Because I know there's a lot of units that are like one buff away from actually being like really strong. Like Charlotte, for example, she got the EE, and I think she's really strong, right? Just from the EE.
I think Charlotte's sick.
Or Violet, right? Violet got his buff and went from like a niche pick to like meta, right? So what unit do you think could get a buff to mix it up a little bit?
An easy answer, honestly, I think is Mediator Kkight. Like, he has some interesting tools in his kit, like being a warrior so you get access to Strack with an ER kind of cleanse. Like, I mean, Kitty already did exactly that, but still kind of cool.
Yeah.
And his S3 is like legitimately strong. Like, it's hard to say that like Dispel debuffs, apply immunity, and an increased attack is bad. I think the biggest thing is his S2 is just atrocious.
Yeah.
His S2 is just not a good
single
skill.
Target attack break and a small barrier.
Based on your ally's health instead of his, because God forbid he benefits from having tank stats. So, like, yeah, like, I think you could increase the power of S2 vastly. I think you could do some cool things with S2, honestly.
Yeah.
To, like, you know, change his matchup spread, you know, maybe, like, further resist from debuffs, or, more debuffs on the enemy. There are so many different things you could do. But I think, focusing on S2 for a buff for Mediator Kkight, I think was, kind of a layup.
Yeah. Yeah, that one's okay. The S3 is good. The S2 is just non-existent.
No, it just is a joke.
What do you think, Kkight? What unit do you think they could buff?
I don't know. I feel like there's not like a specific unit, right, that needs a buff. Then it can be meta. But right now, I think maybe some 5-star unit that we haven't seen, right? Like the Cess, or maybe the Haste, right?
Yeah.
They can be spicy,
Fire
right?
Haste, Fire which is severely outclassed by Carrot.
Yeah, but what would you do for
that's the point, right? Because like before that, like we don't even see Violet, and right now we see Violet a lot. And hopefully they're gonna buff some of those like not ML, like regular 5-star heroes.
Yeah.
They're underrated, like underused.
Yeah, an EE for Says is just another kind of layup just to get him a bit back to relevancy.
Yeah.
I think the issue is just that like Violet has like, you know, something that good DPSs need, which is like some type of, you know, self like defense method. He has the evasion and then the CR push when he counterattacks on his S1. I think the problem with like Says, like Haste or Araminta is just they don't have that, you know, like inherent like self like preservation method. So it's like harder to make like those DPS like usable in RTA, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting what they're gonna buff for the other units. For Sass too. Man. I just wanna see like the older units get some love. Because that's like my favorite part. And what you mentioned too, Lunar, with like units having like self-sustain and being able to survive. There's a lot of units that like I don't know how they fix without a full rework like Haste. Like, how do you fix Haste, right? Without giving him a full kit rework, or just he's forever a PvE.
They tried it, and they like completely missed the mark out.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't even really try. They just said, "Hey, have fun with him in Golem," and left it at that.
And the thing about it is, Expedition level 3 came out like the same week that they buffed him, and he doesn't even work for Fire Expedition.
Nope.
It was legit just like, why? But I don't know. I am curious what they're gonna do with these older units, especially like I know the other one that a lot of people want buffed is like Mort. Right? What do you do with Mort?
Yep.
Oh, for sure, Mort needs a buff.
But also, like, if his kit was good, it would be so toxic. Like, fundamentally, what he does is so annoying. Like, you know, ER ignore, D break, like resist stun, and randomly high roll nonsense. Like, that's the exact kind of unit I hate seeing regularly.
But it's like he has so much potential to be unique with destruction, right? I know you would hate it if you got a buff though. Like if you got to a point where like he could S3 like every other turn or something and like ignore barriers with S3, I feel like more could actually see some significant amount of play.
Yeah, he's just so like a high roll character as he's currently designed.
Yeah.
That, yeah, having high roll characters like that as the top of the meta is annoying.
But I do think it's gonna be interesting to see what Smogate's gonna do. How do they buff all these other heroes?
I wonder, are they ever gonna touch Xeno?
I want them to.
No shot.
His kit makes the least sense of any unit in the game. Like
hear
he's
me
just
out.
poorly put together.
Here's what they should do. This is my theory. I've actually thought about this, right?
Oh, let's go. We got some Xeno
hear me out
tech.
for Xeno. First, the S1 is a stun, right? But it only hits one enemy. But in the boss, he hits 2. I think they should make it hit 2 like Steiner, right? I think that's
Nice.
normal. Make it control.
Following you.
The defense that he gets defense, I think they should do it every time, like a Robbie, where he gets hit or an enemy uses a non-attack skill. Have him get defense and have the S3 strip. And I think he's perfect. And I think he's a good unit. Right? Because
Okay.
if his defense scales faster, he can self-strip with S3, and he can hit multiple targets with S1, he'd be like an annoying, like tanky Bruiser counter mage, which would be just right around my alley for like things I would like to do, right? And that's
Yeah. Like I think he's like conceptually like almost a cool unit. But he just doesn't quite come together as he exists now.
Yeah. It's tough, but I know he's a free unit, which makes me really want to play him, right? I really
I mean,
want to
if they
play
were
him.
willing to do that to Carrot, then like that's not a concern. So just
Yeah.
go all out.
I really want Xeno to be a good unit, because he also is like cool design wise. He's like a monster type unit. But what I really would have liked is more transformation units like Tama. I'm sad that they let go of that concept, like with Tamarine.
Yeah.
Because I thought that her kit is so unique to the game that I would have liked to see it. I would have liked to see more units like that. Even like someone like Mort, I would have really have liked to see Mort be someone that after he has 3s, he turns into a dragon. Because that's literally what he's doing,
That'd be
right?
hype.
To my people.
But,
Yeah, I don't know because they gave more in E, right? That was nothing, and
yeah.
I'm not sure if they're gonna touch more again. I feel like from their perspective is they would like to, have certain sets of units that are not very powerful.
Yeah.
For example, the Fire Element and Haste. So they haven't touched those units, although those units can be really cool if they try to rework or do a buff on them. So
They've kept them bad just for the purpose of being bad.
yeah.
That sucks. I feel kind of bad for those units.
True.
I don't know. I do want to see cooler design, and I think the collab usually. I mean, the Guilty Gear collab was pretty unique. Dizzy was like one of the best control units for a very long time.
Yeah, she just had no like. That's kind of before I didn't play for like the first year of the game. But as far as I understand it, like I remember seeing those Dizzies when I was climbing up from like to Masters for the first time in PvAI arena, and Dizzy was like a terror.
Yeah, so that's why I really
Dizzy's still usable.
She's still
I can
usable.
take her down, but
She's still usable, but it's hard. It's just weird that it's hard because
I'm pretty
They don't
high
have an
on
answer
Dizzy
to her?
actually.
if they don't have an
I
answer
think-
to her, it's actually so doomed for them.
Yeah, like if she's like a last rotation pick now, but like if you don't have an answer to Dizzy in your draft, she just solos you for free. It's it's so fun to do.
yeah, because the S3 just auto wins games pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah, like, oh wow, you got a Rylet or Violet? Have fun with that.
Even with Violet, even though he counters you every other. Well, no, Violet's not too bad, assuming you're not faster than him.
Yeah.
Because if you're faster
Especially
than
if
him,
you-
it's bad.
I don't know. I think tank ER counter Dizzy is the way, but that probably doesn't surprise anyone who has looked at my account for.
Yeah, I am not surprised. I do like your Sage Ball build. Does it actually work being that slow, your Sage Ball? Because I saw that he's like.
Oh, it
very
cuts
slow.
like basically always. I've sped him up a little bit. I run him at like 190 now, but like because like the CDOM and Pavel, they just take a lot of turns, and that gives you because they're always the unit's gonna like be setting up, and so it's pretty easy to live through that. Also, surprisingly, like ML can randomly cut cleave drafts if he counters enough, which I think is pretty funny off the new push.
Yeah, I still don't know how I feel about the new push overall though. Like there are things about it that are really cool that I really really like, but then there are things about it that I'm like, because like it is nice to be able to do the push up, but at the same time you can't really run him as a really slow unit anymore. Like dummy big damage.
Yeah.
Which is how I used to run him on my brother's account.
I've actually I've got a build I like a decent bit on him, which is lifesteal, like 100 F-res and Draco Plate.
Yeah.
And Draco Plate is really nice. I mean, like
Over
my
Sigurd?
default
draft.
draft.
It's lifesteal. Okay.
Yeah, and you'd be surprised how
I need to
easily,
go.
like, if you're hitting like a base defense RB with Draco, you hit him for like 17k, so you heal most of your HP back basically by default, even without Sigurd. And it also lets you like pick him into CDOM because like Draco plus Aureus will actually let him live through some hits if you make him tanky enough that he wouldn't be able to otherwise.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me, by the way. I need to go.
Oh,
But,
yeah.
this
Take
was
it easy.
fun.
We're
This was
gonna
fun
end
talking.
soon. You're fine. Man.
Alright, catch you guys later.
All right,
I don't mind
GGs.
tapping in now if someone wants to.
Oh yeah. I wanted to
Tangle.
see this one. Just I want to let you run a couple because I'm pretty sure you're gonna win like 2 or 3 of them. But I want them to try to feel how it is to face a legend level no speedster.
True. I hope I haven't given away too many of my strats.
In before they ban Kkight.
Oh, they want us at the Kkights.
Oh, of course, dude. I fought her one time and I was like, yeah, this is never happening again.
Yeah, so
Hard.
continue on the discussion for ML can. I actually have my ML can build as like a big damage
Yeah.
And with ER as well. The thing is that after the change, you have to have some ER on your ML can, right? At least,
I think 100 is
100,
basically
yeah,
the
at least
minimum you
100.
want to hit. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I really like my ML can, but my ML can is like 3 sets. So it's immunity, health, and resist, like ER sets.
Okay.
So basically, it's like you have the immunity for that turn 1, right? And you have some tankiness. I happen to have really good like health sets from the ward boss.
Yeah.
So I put that on ML can. So my ML can is like 330 critical hit damage.
Yeah.
So big damage, and also tanky as well, and 150 ER on that, and on secret side. So I feel like the change is not that bad as a lot of people think. Right? They say, "Oh, you lose like the counter potential." But if you build him in ER, right, you are not gonna get debuffed anyway.
Yeah.
And he can shine like in certain matchup. Like for example, the RB match, as Carl mentioned earlier. Like there's no way an RB kills you. Like if you have like really good stats, and it becomes a force ban. Right, obviously you're not gonna run into like a high effectiveness curse combos F10 as ML can. Right? You normally just run like in like a heavy damage squishy units, right? Running into those units. I think he's in a decent spot. By the way, as for the buff the unit, right? Because I was playing the match, I didn't carefully. I think Ludwig can be spicy, but I think right now Ludwig is is in a good spot already. But at the same time, he's not like super strong.
Yeah.
So, but personally, I'm a fan of Ludwig because of the big damage, right? S3 50% ignore defense, like, and the S2 has also good ratio for single target damage.
Yeah.
But that's just my personal take.
Yeah, I remember you used to do the Ludwig cleave in.
Yeah, I used to run Ludwig cleave a lot, like
even in Legend too. That's what was crazy.
Yes, actually, yes. If they don't bring any strippers, like the F10, the Biseria, or the Bazaar. But right now it's too tough because we have Kkight. Right?
This is El Clasico anti-cleave at work.
Yeah, I'm looking at the match right now, and I'm like, man. This is tough. By the way, that made Chloe is like 2k defense, 20k HP. So
yeah,
don't feel bad you didn't kill her. And the Landy's a Proof of Valor Landy. That's also 14k HP, 14k defense. Someone is asking about Briarwitch. How do you feel about Briarwitch? I think she's fine the way she is. There are matches that she's really good, and there's matches that she's not good.
Yes, I'm actually a Briarwitch. Used to be a Briarwitch user. I think she has like some really great use back in last season when the pre-made buff.
Yeah.
But right now we have a lot of cleanser available, especially Maid Chloe, right? She now cleanse, and so it's not that good to pick Briarwitch early. But at the same time, right, she's one of the better debuffers in the game, right? You have the Bazaar, and then you have the Briarwitch Syria, and you can potentially hit evasion units, right? It's like a counter to evasion units as well. So I think she's in a decent spot.
Pretty tanky, dude.
My thing with Briarwitch, because I just got her, right, Kkight, so I kind of agree with some of the things that you're saying. That it would be, if she got a small tweak, it'd be nice. It'd be like a nice bone that they throw her. But she feels okay overall. Right. But yeah, keep going. Sorry we cut you off. You can.
Yeah, true. I'm like trying to focus on the game. So.
Yeah, no, you're fine. Go ahead, Kkight, keep going for what you think about Briarwitch.
No, I was pretty much saying like a Briarwitch is a really good unit, and definitely a very essential unit if you want to climb high up, because people are gonna run like Remnant Violet, gonna run like the Green Violet, right? And if you have Briarwitch, and it can be really crucial. You throw her in the draft there, and it becomes like a force. Even sometimes, right, if you run Arbiter Vildred and the opponent is picking the ML hates to counter you, and if you have like debuffers in your team, like Briarwitch, you can nullify the shield, and it can be very strong. So definitely a very good hero. Actually, I'm happy that you actually got lucky and pulled her, and she's very usable. I think you should mola the S3 because last time I saw you didn't mola the S3.
Yeah, she only did like 3k, and I was like, yeah, she's not fully awakened and she's missing all the mola, so I was like, that would come out to be like 7 or 8k on a debuffer, right? Which is pretty good. That's not bad, you know. It's missing stuff.
Yeah, and she can do great damage if you have like good stats on her. Like she's not like Bazaar, right? Like Bazaar is like basically you strips and
he's done.
Pushback for the setup, but like Virage can actually do big damage as well.
Yeah, and when they don't get rid of her right away, that decreased defense goes a long way, and the extra damage. I was pleasantly surprised with her S1 damage. Like with no mole, I was doing like 3-4k, which I was like, that's pretty good, you know, for a regular S1.
Definitely.
So glad to hear you think you like Briar Witch a lot, because I really think I'm gonna use her a lot, but I'm not quite there yet.
I mean, I think she fits great in your playstyle, right? If you're running like debuff or debuff comps, right? And she's just like that damage type and the debuff type units all in one, like very strong.
But the only thing that always that puts me down, it's the fact that if you want to run a debuffer, it has to be during the last 2 picks. Because if you put them anywhere else before, they just get like hard countered, or your whole draft gets hard countered. So it's hard because if you put Bazaar already and then you put Bazaar Bright, which is pretty good into like the Crimson Armament. So if Crimson Armament does become a problem, I am glad I have both of those. But
the thing about control is like there are so many counters.
Many
champions, Zerado, designer a little bit, ML Kawazu in a sense, right? Because he can self cleanse and cut. And who else? Like DJ Bazaar, Ray. You can name a lot.
Holiday Yufin.
Holiday Yufin right now. So it's like it's tough. Definitely. So I'm looking into like the collab hero. I think they're gonna be game changing. Hopefully they're gonna make them game changing. Like the Guilty Gear ones, right? Because I feel like the Guilty Gears are actually super essential to the game, right? The Dizzy, the Soul, and the Baiken for one shot, right?
Because Soul is amazing for PvE too.
Yes, absolutely. For like cutting off the boss health, right? Because of the percentage health damage.
Yeah. What do you think we'll get for free though? Because have you watched the anime?
Oh yes, I actually did. Like after they announced it, because I didn't watch second season, and I spent some time watching the second season. And it's actually very interesting.
Yeah. So who do you think they'll release though from the characters, and who do you think we'll get for free? Right? Because people are saying, I think Subaru is not gonna make it into the game, and I think we're gonna get Emilia for free. That's my guess, right? But someone was like, no way they'll make Emilia not a banner hero, right?
Yeah, like for me, I think Emilia is gonna be like a banner hero, right? It's not gonna be like a free hero. I don't think Emilia gonna be free hero though. Like she's like very strong, right? In the animation, and also I think she's core, so she might just be like Dizzy, like the Dizzy in the Guilty Gear. But I might be wrong. I'm just like speculating now. But I think she's definitely on there, and. Also, I think maybe the male character, like the guy, will be like the free hero, but I'm not sure though. Yeah, the thing is, like I saw someone posted on your Discord about the Japanese voice actors, and there were like 4 characters.
Oh, you think they're gonna be 4?
Like they're gonna be 4 Japanese like voice actors for the original like anime, right? Joining the like going for the voice acting for this game.
What were the 4? Like, who were they for?
Yeah, let me. So I think this gonna be like the Subaru, the Emilia, and Rem.
Yeah.
And the other one is the Dark Girl. Like,
no way. Really?
Yeah, that's the 4. I'm not sure if that's like accurate though. It's like a leak. Like
like there's a chance it won't be real.
Yeah, so
that'd be cool though. I wouldn't be opposed to that at all if they actually put her in there. But how would they put an ML hero though? They would have to make her an element because they have never done a ML banner hero.
true.
And have they ever done a free ML hero besides? Okay, of course, there's connection with Arby. Arby's technically considered a free hero now. But besides that, they've never really done a free ML hero. Even 3-star. Oh no, they did Kicker at 3-star.
They also, they did Tierria, which is a 4-star.
That's true. That's true.
5-star.
So they've done almost all. They've done all of them. So I wonder how they'll do it. If they'll, I doubt she'll be free though. I doubt they're gonna make a free 5-star unit. So I wonder if they'll give her an element or if they will do something weird with the dark and light. Also, your Landy's popping off.
Landy always pops off because people hit her a bunch.
But
as for collab, I think definitely Emilia and Ren gonna be in there. Yeah.
I could see that. I could see that one being the case for them, but okay, that'd be interesting though if they do out Subaru, because I know that's one of the things that a lot of people were like, I don't know if they'll do it. They thought it was gonna be all female, but also, if y'all are looking here in the background, y'all can see Cal's team in action with his tank Landy that doesn't take any damage.
This breaks people's souls, I think, that little button right there.
Yeah, because you just literally healed them to full.
You got so close, but it's hard to take it home.
So yeah,
I think Cal is the only one who uses Arcades in RTA.
I legitimately don't understand why. It baffles me. She's so good in very obvious ways.
Yep. Oh man, we're getting a lot more people. Look. Yeah, it's interesting. Alright, Kyle, I'll let you do one more so they can try to crack through the wall. Don't feel bad if you can't crack it, because I can't crack it either. I've gotten close. I got a lot closer, like that one time.
My last match of my Legends season was against fucking rank 1 Korean name guy.
No, it wasn't.
And he tried to Basar Stene me, and he fell into the fucking tank Landy. Literally, rank 1 could not crack tank Landy.
Yeah, it's pretty gross. It's like what, 18k HP, 1.4k defense, proof of valor.
About, yeah. With
supported by an Aureus and
the spicy Aureus tech.
And then you can't kill Kkight' Kkight.
Oh, my Kkight is really... She's honestly maybe my best geared unit in terms of gear score.
Yeah. So, I'm excited. But yeah, it's gonna be a good time. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to a collab. Yeah. We find out in 4 days, dude. I can't believe it's so close. It feels like forever. So it's gonna be fun once we actually know.
Yeah, actually, I'm still interested in the summer unit.
Oh yeah, summer.
We're still like we're almost the end of the summer, right? And we haven't got the summer unit yet.
Yeah, I don't think we're getting Samurai Seria this year.
Oh, not really?
I don't know.
Think so?
It's that, or they're gonna do it in September, which is still summer technically. September is still summer, but it's just very late in the summer. So
because they teased it right in last year's anniversary event.
Yeah. Oh, for the anniversary they might release her actually.
Yeah, so I'm actually curious what they're gonna release in anniversary. So because they haven't been doing a lot of content recently, right? It's like they this year, recently, like just Strauss and who else? Nothing new though, right?
Mm-hmm. By the way, philosophically, I think it's so funny that so these are my first core picks by default if I get them almost always. There's things that change them quite often, but that's my default run.
Yeah. And
I build about 10 units just so I can get these 4 units. Because I want to, I build so many units so that my last pick is going to be a force fan.
Yeah.
That defines the whole dynamic of the rest of the comp, is that when I leave my other carry to last pick, everything else is going to be secure.
Yeah.
Which is a weird thing to think about.
You always draft these 4 and your 5th pick is just something that will break apart their whole draft completely.
Yes, but I build 12 units to never actually see them.
Yeah. I do like when I steal your Landy that you have the Charlotte. The Charlotte does just as good as Landy, honestly. If not better in some cases.
Yeah.
And Call has the Charlotte, right? If it's needed.
Yeah, my Charlotte's probably another one of my singular best built units. I can't do Elena now.
Yeah,
So
going
let's
back to
go-
the question in the chat, right?
Yeah,
I
sorry.
think for the collab, I think it's probably gonna be like one really good, like one or two really good PVE units and one PvP units. So
Yeah.
they like to do like a mix. If they release 4, then it's gonna be like 2 PvP, 2 PvE.
Yeah.
I think that's gonna be it. But definitely, if it's a PvP related unit, I think it should be meta breaking. It should be meta break. Otherwise, like I'm gonna be disappointed, to be honest.
Like, aside from like Alpha on release and Holiday Yuffie on release, and Landy technically, but she got super buffed. All the limited units have had some big impact in the game, one way or another. Like think F10 or like Luna when she first. Granted, Luna was PvE only, but Diane was crazy for PvP. SSB was crazy for PvP. Cerise was pretty good. It just people slept on her for a really long time. Then she got buffed too. So
Yeah.
always a chance.
Blue
for buffs.
50 was an original Cerise picker.
Oh my god, this is
And
so
even a unit, right? A limited unit is underrated, and they gonna buff it.
yeah. Because
For example, Landy is the perfect example, right? People complain a lot when Landy first released, and the community, like the Smilegate kind of knows it, right? And they buff Landy and give her another banner immediately after that.
yeah. And
So I guess an interesting question is, I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on this. What does a nerf to a limited unit look like?
a nerf.
Yeah, because there's never been a limited unit nerfed.
I mean,
Is it even possible?
I mean, I think they already said, like Smilegate in like the anniversary thing, they said they will never nerf another unit. Like they stated that they said it's just never gonna
Really?
happen. Yeah.
Oh shit.
They, like that. Granted, Smilegate says a lot of stuff and then doesn't actually follow up. But regardless, it's like the chances of them nerfing a unit are terrible, right? So like that's why I think limited units that get buffs are probably like the scariest thing. Because you can't recall that. How do you recall? Like you'd have to just refund or something if they're gonna do the recall.
Yeah.
Because you can't do
But,
like pick a limited unit. That's just
I know, it's like there's not even an infrastructure that's possible for that.
Yeah, I think personally, I don't think they're gonna nerf any limited units. First of all, because of the no nerf policy from Smilegate, right? Every time they nerf a unit, they're gonna give some compensation, maybe a selector, or maybe the full refund or something. And also, they don't tend to nerf units. The way that they balance games is by releasing more units.
Yeah.
For options to shake things up, right? For example, I think this year the biggest release like for us is the politics, right? Do you agree with that? Or
yeah. This whole year, I
Definitely,
think
right.
that was the only unit that like really made a palpable impact in the.
I'd have to look back at the year. Post buff Pavel is like a big one, but I don't know if that counts.
Yeah, it was not a release. Like the thing about it is like all the release units were so underwhelming this year that people even forgot about some of them. Like we got
Yeah.
Ida. Like Ida's a unit in this game. When have you ever seen an
Kinda.
Ida? Right?
Yeah.
So it's one of those things that's like I don't know. Politis is definitely the best one on release for sure. I agree.
yeah, so I think for balance purpose, they're gonna release like units that are closely related to like what's being existing and try to balance that out. But they can do something else as well. For example, in the collab, they might release units that are very strong, but it's not like related to the current meta or current states of the game as well. And also, I saw someone mention in the chat, right? I think we're only getting female limited so far, right?
Yeah, besides
There's
Soul,
no
which
male
is
limited.
free. Yeah. I think they just don't put male characters because they don't think they sell as much.
Yeah, for sure.
But all the male ones are like free to get basically, and they're not like they're limited, but you get them for free essentially. All right, let me see. I think almost everyone here has gone once at least. Let me try against Cal so y'all can feel better about yourselves. That It's not just you guys can't crack. I can't crack it either. There's a reason he's legend and I'm not.
We target banning?
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah. Although you do have maid, which is pretty annoying.
True. No, we stick with it.
But yeah, it's I all in all though, most collabs they should have at least one PvP unit, but the PvE ones, I mean at this point I feel like what can you do in PvE? Right? That hasn't already been done or like completed, you know?
I don't know. I mean, I hate Abyss, but maybe they're gonna release the most mind-numbingly powerful, slow, grindy Abyss thing that we've ever dared to imagine.
Cause there's
I hope they don't.
I hope they don't, but there is a really good chance that will happen. Yes, I could definitely see that happening. Oh man, I have no.
Yeah. Also, we're not getting the new Guild War content, right?
We should be getting it. Yeah.
Like the labyrinth, the Guild War labyrinth or something.
Yeah, we do get the labyrinth. I know, but
I will shape my own future.
it's tough. It's for PvE units. My only problem, like I get that people like to have PvE units, but I just feel like we're at a point where there's no PvE content that you can't clear with free-to-play heroes or like heroes that you can just you're naturally gonna have, right? Like there's no content that you need another hero for right now for them to release. Granted, it was very nice that they released Strasse when they did. Oh my god, I'm definitely banning that last unit. I was hoping I wouldn't have to, but
I don't know, because they probably gonna release new PvE content, so they might maybe do
make a
something
unit
on
related
that.
to it.
Yeah, that's good for that. Or but yeah, I totally agree with you. A lot of the content, PvE content, can be clean, like with the existing unit.
Yeah.
But for some of them, they're like 5-star, and you need to pull for it. So for new players, maybe getting a free PvE unit can be good.
Yeah.
And we are seeing carry dominance here.
Oh my god.
Or are we seeing Landy dominance? I think we might be seeing some Landy dominance.
I hate your Landy, dude. I was so sad you got first pick. Why is your mate on counter set?
What do you mean? Asking me why something's on counter set? Come on, man.
Oh man.
My Lots is on. I forgot he was on Super Duper Water Soaker because I was using him to farm.
Nice.
Nah, it's sick. It's gonna come in clutch here, believe.
Nice. That extra little damage.
Prepare yourselves.
You probably know what I'm trying to go for. Are you trying to pop my crop before I take a turn? Can you?
See.
If you don't, your mate is pretty much dead. I don't think you kill here, right? Oh.
Now isn't the time to hesitate.
It kind of worked in your favor, actually. That you didn't
The spicy question, though.
I don't think I kill her the first time.
Does the skill? Yeah.
But with the Rylet, I should be able to. Those sucks out to you. Can't you heal with Lots, though? That's gonna suck. And kill with this one. Get more stack. Quicker.
That's greedy.
Oh
my god. Okay. Gameplay.
Oh, skill. Okay, let me see the list. So JCS is asking, how do I feel about arena resetting all the way down to the bottom of a tier? You don't climb completely out of the end week. It honestly doesn't matter too much the higher you go up, but it is so annoying for Challenger to try to get into Champion. Every time I have to reset. It is definitely annoying, I can tell you that. That they do reset
I
them.
mean, I'm just a Challenger player. I can't be bothered to grind up all the way back to
Wait.
champion every week when I get knocked down.
Cal, what's the effectiveness on your maid?
Stacked.
What's the effectiveness on your maid, Cal?
So she is base 18. So 18.
My craw is 113.
I think that's what they called getting fucked.
Huh.
Yeah, the thing about ER and the effectiveness is that like you still have a chance, right, to hit high ER units. Like if you have some effectiveness, I'm pretty sure that's their system, how the system works.
God, this unit's so annoying.
You mean green lots? Because I agree with you.
No, the maid. I really should have just been maid instead. God damn. I don't think I think I lose to maid at this point.
Green lots did fucking stuff though. I love green lots. He's so.
He did do stuff this game.
I'm a green lot stan. Value.
Oh my god, it's okay. She was already dead, but I don't think I kill your thing here.
And stun again.
I actually hate your maid. I actually hate your maid, Cal.
I mean, okay, so like there's some matchups where it matters for people to have like
hate your maid.
the 200F build. Okay, let's see.
And stun again.
You know that's a 25% chance, right?
It's I mean, 40% chance minus 15. I have my main max bullet.
Cal?
Let's not front.
Cal, you did that 6 stunts in a row.
Oh yeah, no, like that's a little bit of a high roll.
Oh man, what a guy. I really don't think I can beat you unless I take your Landia away. Sadly. Feels bad. But that's fine.
Yeah, I mean like there were some high rolls there.
I'll let these two fight. So I can see Cleaver Legend Cleaver versus Legend Bruiser.
Oh, is this like the final showdown?
This is the finale. So this is the finale of the stream. It's gonna be the 2 legend players. Both of them are content creators, by the way. So make sure to give them a follow. I do have their stuff in the description. But Cal is a Twitch streamer. I'll put it here. If you want to see him bruiser his way across every team in the planet. And then Kkight is a YouTuber for Cleave and other stuff as well. And this is his stuff too. Make sure to give him a follow. And I thank you guys so much for joining me today. I know it can take up a lot of time, so I really do appreciate you guys showing up and having fun.
And I think Kkight specifically is one of the biggest brain cleavers in the game. Like he has so much versatility in his account. He's tried a lot of different styles of cleave. I think he has definitely a lot more room to talk about different styles of play than most people in the game right now.
Yeah. And
I'm also hunting to reach my 50 follower benchmark, so
nice.
If you want to help a brother out.
Yep. And Kkight is still 700 away, but he'll get there. I believe.
Let's see.
So this is the final showdown between the 2 big ones.
We're gonna start with Landy because Landy's pretty cool.
Do you ever not pick Landy?
I mean, she's both a solo DPS and a tank. Like,
Nice.
what matchups is that? Could that be bad into? Oh, should I hear my subscriber sound going? So someone listened. Thank you. I love you. I don't know who you are because I gotta try hard right now. But oh my goodness, they're coming in. Wait, one of them used you, Blair. Okay.
Hey, I haven't done it yet, so I appreciate it. I appreciate you for coming through. I hope you see a lot of success with your channel, your Twitch stream.
You know, I'm just following your footsteps, dude.
Oh yeah. I'm a washed up E7 player.
I mean, so am I. I hit legend. What am I gonna do now? Like, it's all down to you.
Just retire, dude.
Okay, so God. So he is Cerise Flan. I think I can actually go my what's your face here? Where is she? Holiday Euphine. And who else is good here? I think I don't like the pick super much, but
I'm surprised you didn't pick your typical El Craw. You went with the blue version.
I mean, I would love to have Kkight banned it because he's toxic.
he knows what to do. But
okay. Sage Ball again. Like literally, Sage Ball will never see through a cleave draft.
My thing is, I'm surprised because can't Polides lock him down? Granted, if they don't know your speed, they have to respect it.
Yeah.
20% is 20%.
Let's see how this goes.
Doesn't there? Oh no! If this,
I think Yufeng probably gonna cut.
Yeah.
Ideally, she's. Oh, you hit her though. You
Nice.
did hit her though.
Nice. This will be.
I don't have the guild arty yet. She's on Snow Crystal, so she still gets the push.
The guild
Ideally,
is
when
so
she
nice.
when she gets not hit, but
The thing about it is,
we
if you
got
have
hit.
the guild arty, you also have the higher chance of luck sacking if you don't get restricted, even if you get hit.
Yeah, definitely. Maid's hanging in there though.
Is Kkight gonna break through the wall?
I think Kkight might.
The
Yeah.
sword and shield matchup. Okay.
Dead.
Oh yeah. Can you bring this back? It's too many Devos.
Nah.
I don't think so. That's crazy. I can't believe that's how it ended. A nice little big
Hey,
boy
man.
cleave.
70-30 onto HUFI. We take those. Didn't work out, but
That was close because I could see if you dodged, you cut in, which is crazy.
yeah. That
It's
was
just
the plan. It also gives CDOM one less push too, which is a little bit of benefit. One
Yeah.
less stack, whatever.
You're basically guaranteed to cut in there, which is insane for your team. But all right, y'all. Thank you all so much for joining.
Okay, good game,
I'll be
Kkight.
closing my stream. I don't know, Cobb, you're gonna keep streaming on Twitch.
Nah, I'm out for that too.
Yeah. So thank y'all for joining. It was a good time. I enjoyed it. I hope y'all enjoyed this type of podcast. If y'all did, leave a comment, leave a like, all that good stuff, and maybe next time we'll get some other players' perspectives. So
By the way, I think I just got boosted to affiliate, so let's fucking go, dudes.
hey, I'm glad to hear that.
Hell yeah. The King Blair boost, that's what they call it.
Hey, but congratulations, man. Bye, man. It was a good time. So hopefully people enjoy it and want to see more of these. But I enjoyed it a lot. It was a good time talking to y'all.
Hell
And
yeah.
Overall,
For sure.
I mean, RTA is fun. It can get stale, but it's a good
That's all we
experience.
need to say. RTA is fun.
Yeah. But later, y'all. Thank you for joining.